Wait, I forgot to close the window. Hang on.
Let's go!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Yascast with me, Yaseen. But you already knew that anyway. At least I hope you did. I'm not sure how you get to this many episodes without realizing who Yaseen is. I mean, some people listen to this podcast have no idea who I am. And I think that's so strange. Like, why are you listening to like so many episodes of some person's podcast you don't even know? But I guess if you think about it, like all podcasts are people that you don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. This is episode 8.1 with none other than the lovely Ari, that is at Ari at wetdry.world, and Mae, who is also at wetdry.world. Hi, guys.
Hello.
How you both doing?
I'm doing quite good. I'm vibing right now.
You're vibing? Excellent. That's great. I love to have
Hell
my
yeah.
guests vibing on the Yascast. This is episode 8.1, and do you girls know why?
Windows.
Yeah, I heard people making Windows references, and I somehow didn't catch it at first. So I was just like, huh. I don't see how we'd be in any way related to the 8th episode, but...
That's so funny. Well, I mean, this is the 9th episode of the series, and what better number 9 to be than episode 8.1?
Of course.
Really?
We can't count to 9.
We can't count to 9. I mean, there was never a 9th version of Windows. There was never a 9th iPhone. There was never a 9th. I think that's really it, isn't it? Just
I don't know
iPhone
if there is actually like a tech device that has used the number 9.
Next episode is just going to be called Yazcast X.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You planted the idea, now it's gonna happen.
I mean, to us, I'm kind of on the fence of what to call episode 10, just because there are so many different options, right? Like, it could be episode X, it could be episode Twitter, it could be episode Mac OS.
Oh my
You know, because that was OS X. It could be episode, don't know, 2 hands, perhaps. two feet. But it's good to have both of you on here. It's good to have it's good to have two of my lovely sisters on here.
It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, it's great. So the questions I have for you are many and numerable. In fact, I have a whole sticky note here filled with them.
Nice.
I love speaking of.
I love sticky notes too, just plastering them all over the place. But you guys actually haven't been on the Fediverse for quite that long, actually.
No, especially not me. I joined in August, which still surprises some people. Every time I tell someone about that, they're like,
my
what? I thought you'd been
gosh.
here for like a year. I'm like, no, I've been here like 4 months.
It feels like you've been here forever. I've been a lot longer. I've been like 2 years now, I think.
Wait, what? Really?
I think so. It was December 2021, I think.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
December 2021.
Well, let's start with you then, mate, because you're the longest serving person
Oh gosh.
who I've ever had on this show. Actually, everyone else
Oh my
has been
gosh.
like, I've been here for like 9 months. Actually, no. Joe has been on study longer than you have. So after Joe, it's you.
Okay.
So
I'm honored.
so that means you've been on the Fedi for what? This is like you were like 14 or something.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so how did you start out then?
So, I mean, I think
By the way,
it was
this is the quickest time between the beginning and the first question, I think, in any episode so far.
Let's
Getting
go.
straight to it. Let's go.
80% Yazcast.
Yascast percent. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, mate, back to your answer.
So, I think I don't really 100% remember, but I think Twitter was starting to go to shit, and I used Twitter a lot back in the day before
Oh, so
I've moved.
Twitter was going to shit before Elon Musk?
I don't remember when that
I
even
think
happened.
it's
It's been so
sucked
long at
almost
this
forever. Like, it's really sucks now because now it's got like quite a political lean, I guess.
Mhm.
But even like before, like, I guess a big part of a lot of social media platforms is, you know, you gotta get engagement because the only
Sure.
way they're gonna make money is if they keep you on there for long enough. And
Mhm.
anger is a very powerful emotion.
Mhm.
It tends to keep people on sites for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I mean, I did psychology at university, and that was like 2014, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. And even back then, one of the things we discussed was how anger is a very powerful kind of like viral emotion, essentially, right?
Mm.
Because people who are angry about a thing will spread that anger onto other people and spread that message. And people who are against that thing will also feed off the anger, and their anger at the other people's anger will then also spread. So you have these kind of two different strands of pro and anti whatever who are both angry about the topic from different angles, and they spread that anger very effectively. And really most of the stuff that we were looking at was pre social media kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So newspapers, blogs, all that kind of stuff. And even that was kind of like a worry that that anger was a kind of viral emotion. And the way that these algorithms are geared is geared towards what gets the most engagement. And so if offline or in early internet days anger was a driving emotion, then online it's just even more potent that way. It's an accelerant almost, the sense of anger that engagement drives. And of course, we can bring this all the way back into Facebook's acceleration of the
Facebook's a terrible one.
Facebook's,
I've never been particularly active on there just because there's never been anything of interest to me on there.
Yeah.
I go on there on occasion currently purely because there's like a really nice, like I say really nice, a really good resource for just like what's going on in like my local town and stuff. There's like a Facebook group for it. Literally the only reason I go there. That and occasionally browsing Marketplace because it's basically our Craigslist.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I have no use for it.
Yeah, Facebook is a weird one for me. Obviously, because I'm much older than both of you, so Facebook was my thing. It was the cool thing.
It was the
thing.
thing.
It was the thing.
Yeah.
It was the thing. It was the cool place to be on. Like compared to MySpace, Facebook was clean and minimalistic, and it just did the job, right? And you can see, and in fact, you can kind of see how Facebook progressed in how every other tech company has progressed now. The original implementation is nice and clean and friendly and really cool and really good to use. And then as time goes on, they bolt on bits and bobs and change things around, and it's all ugly and hideous and things break and whatever. But
I actually don't mind the UX of Facebook that much, but this from the surface. I don't know what it's actually like to like properly use.
Facebook's
looks all right.
I mean, Facebook's UI and UX is like fine. Like there's not much in terms of like actual craft in a way. Like there isn't. It's weird how it's still kind of heavy in lots of ways, but it's relatively workable and intuitive.
It definitely suffers from a lot of feature creep, I think.
Yeah,
there's so many like things on Facebook.
There's so many things.
I love tech debt.
There's so many things on Facebook, but it is mostly usable, compare that to anything else, and it's like, but as Facebook was the cool place to be, and then Facebook stopped being cool because everyone else got on Facebook, and then your grandma got on Facebook, then your mom and dad got on Facebook, and then it became less cool. And then, your boomer aunt sends you little gifts on Messenger all the time. It's like, it's cute, it's sweet, it's whatever. But then they start tagging you and me in stupid posts and commenting on your posts. And I was, oh shit, I really can't talk about my drug-filled benders anymore because my great aunt is on here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that Facebook's algorithmic design has also kind of stopped me from posting like things on Facebook. I think I post maybe like once a month, and it gets like 6 or 7 likes perhaps, because no one else that is in my social circle is also using Facebook to socialize. The only reason Facebook like still exists to me is to occasionally check up on people in my life, like my family and my friends or whatever, in case they've updated their status or whatever, and for Messenger, and to browse meme pages, and also to check out meme groups, and also other groups where things go terribly wrong. There's a whole subsection of Facebook called Left Book, which is exactly
Oh, yeah.
what you think it is. Imagine if a collectiver was like a whole like Facebook doctrine, and you kind of have a general feel for what it was. It basically people canceling each other over the most minor differences. People, Facebook group admins kicking you out of the group and saying, "Oh yeah, if you give us an essay on what you did wrong, we'll let you back into the group." That's
It's
not
very kind of echo chambery
yeah,
behavior.
yeah. I got banned from one of these left book groups for saying, actually, I don't think that China is actually the good guys here, and
I guess you're excited to be here, but this isn't the vibe
Oh my gosh.
that's such a powerful copy paste, and it's crazy. it's so funny that you guys like Ari joined after it became a thing. but
Yeah, I remember I saw that going around, and I'm like, what does this come from? I like you finally like made the connection. Oh, it came from like T2 or /Pebble.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, I've never heard of that before. This seems fun.
I mean, wet dry people like ate that shit up, like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
such wet dry world.
We eat a lot of slop up.
Well, I mean, look, like if I had to join if I had to join Mastodon again, I would most like 100% join wet dry world, like straight up.
It's a fun place.
It's a fun place to be, and of
Yeah.
course, SM and Emma do a great job of cleaning the place up. Like
Yeah.
kudos to you, SM, and
Thank you, SM. Thank you, Emma.
They are holding up quite a large fort. I don't
Yeah,
know how
fort.
I'd feel running an instant. I don't know how I'd feel running an instance with like more than 20 people on it. I mean,
Right,
like
yeah.
my own
Yeah.
Discord has like 100 people, and it's like it's manageable because only like 10 of them are normally active. If I had like 20 plus active users,
yeah, it would be
I don't know if
hell.
I could
Yeah.
moderate that solo.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, moderation is one of those things that you never really have to think about if you're a user, but it's something you got to think about a lot if you are an administrator, and that's why I have so much like faith in like Autumn, my admin. She
Yeah.
does such a
Mm.
absolute fantastic job. It's a grueling, like thankless like task, and moderators and admins on the Fediverse and in general just don't get enough of it.
Yeah. It's really thankless, like by design as well,
Yeah.
because the whole point of moderation is it works when you don't notice it's there.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Moderation is supposed to be kind of just like a thing that happens in the background as far as the user is concerned. But like if you're an administrator, it is like everything you do. Everything.
Yeah.
You're playing whack-a-mole like every single day.
Constantly putting out fires.
And like, the fact that, like Autumn and SM and Emma and all the other moderators and administrators on the Fediverse are able to do that job of playing whack-a-mole while also being like hilarious fucking people.
And just like having lives in general.
Right,
So,
yeah. It'd be one thing if like they were just straight moderators and admins just doing that silently, no, like that's like totally cool, whatever. But I've had that like, people like SM and Emma and Autumn and all the other lovely, administrators out there are still also active like members of our community and also like
yeah.
hilarious as fucking shit. Like that's like another level of top. Like I don't think I could be a moderator and continue and do my like actual like job and also be like a 24/7 shit poster. Like I can do all three at once.
Shitpost is a full-time job.
Shit posting is a full time, like shit posting is my second job. That's why I do it during my first job.
Yeah, it's another thankless effort.
It is a
Side
thankless,
hustle.
yeah. It's a side hustle. Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, I get paid in exposure, which it doesn't pay for anything in real life. But like it's like I can exchange it for like I don't know like. Yeah, no, nothing.
Side hustling on the Fediverse is such a wild concept.
I mean, the only way I think you'd hustle on the Fediverse is if you like that Kenya GoFundMe thing. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Mm.
For those of you who are not in the know, there's I believe, and I think other people believe it, there's this kind of like scam account or whatever that keeps following people or quote or like mentioning people, saying that they're like a Kenyan like refugee camp or whatever.
Actually, I haven't heard about this.
Every so often I keep getting followed by them and I've blocked like at least 2 or 3 of their accounts by now. And it's always a GoFundMe link and it's always and if you do any like 10-minute level of like investigation, you'll find out this GoFundMe is registered to some dude in like, I feel like in like the UK or something, and like his name does not match the name on the account, or that kind of stuff. It's very clearly, obviously, some kind of.
It all seems very above board to me.
Yeah, of course. And you have no way if the money is even being dispersed to these to these refugee camps in Kenya anyway, for starters, and that's the thing with these large scale fundraisers on in any sense, is that you have no idea what the money is going to, unless it's like very clear what the chain is. Or in this case, the chain is like no clear to me. Like I'm not going to give money to something that I have no idea, But the thing with the Kenya GoFundMe is that I keep seeing people boost it like over and over and over. And like obviously it's because it's a good cause worth supporting.
Yeah.
But they see the post and like, oh, okay, this is something that we should support. I'll boost it to get to make sure it goes places. And and in reality, it's not actually like a real thing at all.
It's a funny thing because like generally it's a good thing to boost, like, I don't know, things like mutual aid posts go crazy on the timeline, but it's very difficult to verify, I guess, the validity sometimes.
Yep.
And it's weird to be skeptical about that kind of stuff just in general. Like there's just a vibe about it. I'm not sure even if there is a solution to that necessarily. I mean, misinformation on the internet's a crazy one.
Oh yeah. The internet is full of shit. The internet's full of garbage. I read a book called "Internet is Full of Garbage." Well, it's not a book. It's like a very, very long PDF. No, that is a book. Never mind.
Yeah, it's book enough.
It's a book enough. It was. I mean, it was a book.
I read the Kindle release.
I mean, it was a PDF, and it's on Goodreads. Therefore, it's a book. Okay.
Yeah.
The essential premise is that the internet and capitalism and the internet have kind of conspired to make the internet full of shit. Right. The book opens up with spam, which is the ultimate kind of like shit on the internet. And essentially the thing is that spam is like a problem that like so many different organizations and entities and whatever have tried to deal with, and we still have no way of actually like getting rid of spam. Like even today I still get spam in my inbox that is very clearly spam, but like that's like a problem that is like not solvable, because the internet and capitalism have basically made it so that spam exists. Spam would only exist if there wasn't an incentive for spammers to get money from someone.
Yeah. One of the great ways I've heard some people describe it is it's like an arms race, basically. You have the people who are making anti-spam tools, and then you have the people who are making spam tools.
Yep.
Each one of them is learning from the other side, and every time they hear about some new developments, it's like, oh, we got to take care of that. No, we got to take care of this on the other side. And it just like constantly repeats.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And you can apply that to any kind of like, internet cleanup exercise kind of thing. Like we've seen it on the Fediverse itself, like for example,
hate speech. As a whole, it's very difficult to hit that.
Yeah. I mean, the great Fediverse example, of course, is with what's it called, authorized fetch, I believe.
Yeah.
So one of the bad actors of the Fediverse has found a way around it. And I don't know any of the complicated technical stuff, but like, and again, that's an arms race in itself, a very small one, but they found a way around it, and now what the fuck happens kind of thing. So the race to stop shit on the internet is kind of geared towards those people who are making the shit up, It's all around, like, for example, YouTube React channels, right? Those guys are like the shit of YouTube,
Oh, circumventing content ID, one of the ancient arts.
And it's like because content ID works on exact matches only, you can't exactly copyright claim someone who's reacting to your content, because it is a completely different video. That is,
I think in case of content ID, it's a little bit more complicated than exact matches nowadays. Like they're employing all sorts of tools to. Like, I think the usual, like, boost it up a semitone or stretch it a little bit doesn't really work anymore. I think it does in some cases, but not all, because the stuff's just getting smarter. Or I guess it's able to tackle more abstract kind of things now. It's I mean, yeah, I have no idea. I have like a vague idea of how that stuff works, but the whole nature of machine learning and stuff is it is just kind of a black box thing. Like it's just a bunch of like numbers just floating around in a little box with all of these
things go in,
weights between them and everything. It's the fact it's so large and complex. There's no real way that you can just like look at it and go, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, no single person could probably expect to comprehend what is inside those black boxes.
No.
And that's crazy to think that, you know, I mean, look, all systems in today's age are so complicated that not even a single person could do it. If you went back in time with the schematics for a laptop today, you just wouldn't be able to do it all by yourself because it requires so many individual components that you just would not have the ability to do yourself.
Yeah.
And also, speaking of YouTube, by the way, guess what? This podcast is now even more controversial.
Oh no, what's happened?
So YouTube launched a podcast like section or whatever in YouTube.
Oh yeah, they've been pushing podcasts more, haven't they?
Yeah. So Google Podcast is shutting down in about like 9 months or whatever, and YouTube will be the replacement for podcasting.
I've had this one before.
Yeah. I wonder how this is gonna end.
We at Google think we can totally take a nice foothold in this area, and we totally won't bastard it up.
So
this happened with Google Play Music before. They got rid of Google Play Music and made it into YouTube Music, which is
how
infinitely
many messages
more
apps do they have again?
So many. So Google Podcast, which is a very actually decent podcast app, it comes in built in on your Android phone. It is very good. The search is fine. The playback stuff is fine. The quality is good. It lists your episodes like appropriately. It's fine. It's good. Anyway, so YouTube podcast launched in the UK fairly recently, I believe, like this month or whatever, allowing creators to upload their podcast to YouTube. And I thought, okay, this is great for me. There's another platform now that I can do stuff. And so YouTube, just like any other podcasting app, will now take the RSS feed and the episodes from that and upload it, and that's all the hard work done. So it's easy as pie for me to do. Except it actually kind of wasn't.
Oh no.
So I had to submit the RSS feed to YouTube, which is like totally okay. That's fine. I did that with the other stuff too. Then after it then it took a little while to process the stuff. That's fine. What it does, it converts them to a video with a static image, which is what happens with music anyway. So not
that
big
makes
deal.
sense.
Not big deal.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that after I had submitted the RSS feed, all the videos were actually marked as private, and no one could watch them or listen to them. And I only knew this because someone was like, "Hey, Yaseen, I can only see the latest episode. Where's the rest?" Like, they should all be there. So I went back, manually undid like changing visibility. That's cool. That's fine. Whatever. Anyway, the podcasts aren't actually podcasts. They are a playlist of videos, which YouTube will then like automatically update, which is kind of different to how Google Podcasts or any other podcast app would do it, which is it will show you a list of the episodes and their description, whatever. So it's just a playlist, which, okay, sure, fine, whatever. Anyway, but here's the thing. YouTube will like scan the podcast like they would a video, which means that I have to unintentionally, I have broken YouTube's misinformation guidelines.
Huh?
Oh.
Episode 1, which is the third episode in the series, is now unavailable on YouTube because, right, at 1 hour and 18 minutes in, Matty made a joke where he said that 5G turns you gay.
No.
It's just gonna get claimed now.
And because of that joke, right, I broke some misinformation policy of YouTube, and that episode is gone. It is erased. I've appealed it, okay, but there's no actual way to like describe why you're appealing it. You just have to hope. But that episode has been out for like over like 2.5 months now, right? It has been on every single other podcast platform known to man, and not a single one of them has taken it down, or any of the other episodes on my list.
That is bizarre, because like if I'm not mistaken, stuff like that is usually manual review. So like someone would have had to have reported that. I'm not sure if like
Right.
YouTube like has a bot go through the transcripts and go like, oh,
I mean, that's what I think.
5G and gay?
Mm.
This looks sus. I'm gonna send this up to headquarters. No, I'm pretty sure that has to be manually reported. So I'm curious what happened there.
Yeah, because the timestamp is very specific. It is weird because the timestamp is like in like the middle of that little segment where Matty talks about 5G making you gay or whatever the hell he said.
Don't say it again. We're gonna get banned.
You know what? When this episode goes on YouTube, this is gonna get demand. This is gonna get fucking hell, man.
It's so over.
It's all yes over. But yeah. And so I mean, I'm still gonna upload videos. I'm gonna still upload episodes to YouTube. But like, if it keeps getting me in trouble, I might have to just stop, which is a shame because obviously some people are like, oh, why aren't you episodes on YouTube? I'm like, well, actually, YouTube's workflow sucks for uploading like podcasts.
The workflow kind of makes sense. It's basically just rolling off their existing infrastructure. It's like,
yeah.
hey, we have videos. You can just upload it as a video, and we have playlists.
Like, it
They're
makes
just kinda
sense from like a
making do with what they
YouTube
have.
perspective, but like from a podcast perspective, it like completely doesn't.
It's
quite...
really similar to how YouTube music works.
Yeah. Very similar. But I feel like it's a weird way of doing it that doesn't make much sense to me. But like, it's YouTube, so whatever. Right?
Yeah. You're kind of using a wrench to hammer nails.
Yeah,
but,
essentially.
like,
Yeah. A wrench hammer nails. That's a good one. Yeah. And yeah, the annoying thing though is that YouTube does not give any information back to my host. So my host is Spotify for Podcasters. And essentially what
YouTube not providing
Yeah, I
valuable
know.
information
Yeah.
when something goes wrong.
So
I never heard of a situation like that.
So when you submit a podcast through RSS to another feed, to another platform, so for example, Apple or AntennaPods or whatever, right? They will feed back playback information to me, so the view count and how long they listen to, or whatever, all the kind of good stuff that I need to know, right? YouTube, as far as I can tell, does not feed any of that information back, because I know that on YouTube I have about like 20 views, and if I go and check my my host, they will not report anything from YouTube at all. Like there's nothing there. And I'm thinking that YouTube actually isn't passing on any of that information back to my host, which is very annoying for me, because now to like manually kind of add all the YouTube stuff, and it's like, it's annoying. It's very annoying because everyone else does it just fine. Like even Apple is like, yeah, sure, here's all the information. I'll pass it back to your host feed, no problem. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
like it's Google is the one that's like, even fucking Google Podcasts passes the information back, just like YouTube Music is worse than
my
Google
gosh.
Play Music.
Yeah, no, I think they literally just like brought in the old YouTube mentality with that one, to be
YouTube
honest.
always wants to be different in all the wrong ways.
It's just very annoying. It kind of sucks, you know, as like a workflow thing. And now I completely understand why everyone fucking hates YouTube as a creator, because this is my first experience of using YouTube as for anything, right? Because all I do is
Welcome to
watch
the
stuff on
club.
it, and I know
I'm in like a pretty lucky position. Like I've been doing YouTube stuff on and off for quite a long time, but I've thankfully never in like a really bad way run into those kinds of problems. Like, have I hit copyright issues? Yeah, but it was copyrightable content, so go figure. You know, the solution is just, you know, re-upload it with something that's not copyrighted, right?
Yep.
But like I hear some of the stories that go on with, I mean, it's big and small YouTubers alike, and they go through like the stupidest goddamn shit, and I'm like, how does this occur? How have I not had this occur to me? I'm thankful, but like, how? It's so bizarre.
Yeah, exactly. On YouTube, it's like, you know, hammer and nails, whack-a-mole kind of thing.
It doesn't make me confident for a potential future where I actually do become a larger creator, and like that is a thing that I'm partly doing like for money. I could see that being a potential problem down the line.
Exactly. Yeah. Like for me, it's like, okay, YouTube sucks. If it doesn't work out, then, well, I have all these other podcast hosts that can do all the oldest
Yeah.
but it's still annoying because obviously it just means that if it's on YouTube, then it's more accessible and more people can listen, and that's great because I want people to listen to the stories that I'm sharing with from my dear friends, and it's
We
frustrating.
need brain rot to hit as many people as humanly possible.
Exactly. Yeah, we need the brain rot. We
The Wet
need
Dry World Manifesto.
we need more people to appreciate, the comedic timing of myself and this is supposed to be a thing.
Precisely.
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
I realized we have actually sidetracked again. I just realized that we were asking May. You know what? Forget about that ton first question. Like it's been like half an hour.
It's been half an hour.
we still haven't asked. Oh my fucking god! You know
So
what?
much for the speed run.
So much for the speed run. So much for the speed run. This is I've look. Okay, back to May. So yes, so Twitter was going bad, and that's when you decided to join the Fedi, correct?
Yeah, so I think I knew Emma IVG from Twitter before and just various other places. So I saw that she was posting about. I saw that she had joined the Fediverse. She was originally, you hate this. She was originally on Mastodon.social, I think.
Emma, no! Look,
I'm sending a DM right now.
Oh, no.
Look, we've all made mistakes in our life, We've all made mistakes. I will forgive Emma for doing that.
Yeah, and I think she moved to Wet Dry World because, of course, that's run by SM. It's a lot more, community controlled, selective, let's say, a bit more smaller.
It's a lot more not full of bastards.
Exactly, right. So I just saw that SM owned that, and of course, I knew SM lightly because SM made SMBot, which is a great Discord bot which makes funny caption gifs and a lot else. So I was like, hey, why not? I'll give it a try.
Sure.
So I joined, and it just kind of went off from there. Over time, I stopped using Twitter as much. I started using Fedi more, and I just really enjoyed it being like a community.
Okay, that's cool. So Wet Dry World is like over 2 years old at this point?
I don't know. When was Wet Dry World introduced?
My background for joining, I actually forgot to mention
Ari,
that part.
I never asked you.
Yeah.
I haven't asked you, Ari.
I thought I already had said something about that.
No,
it was when we joined.
I can't believe you just spoke out of turn there, Ari.
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
believe it. I can't believe it. I'm gonna have to kick you out of this
Reduced to
episode.
ashes.
No, so Ari, when and why did you join the Fediverse? What was what's your origin story?
Yeah, so I had joined, my account says August 6th, so quite recently in the grand scheme of things. At the time that I had joined, I was already fairly firmly against using Twitter. I'll open it from time to time, but almost all of those times just because someone linked me something from there,
Sure.
or I'm going to go find something that I posted fucking ages ago. I don't remember exactly when I had kind of just stopped using it. I think it could have been early this year, maybe.
Sure.
Sometime maybe around I don't know, somewhere in the, first quarter or something like that. It was, I think, sometime at the beginning of the summer, maybe. I know around there at least, I was using Tumblr actually.
Okay.
That was kind of where I had migrated over to, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. I mean, it's got pretty much all of the stuff that I would have otherwise missed from Twitter, which was just cool artists. That was pretty much the only nice thing I was really getting out of that. You have the meme accounts and stuff, but I can live without the meme accounts. Half of them end up getting into drama anyways, so I'm just not interested in that. But the amount of super sick artists that I was following on there it's still a bit of a bummer that all of them have completely relegated themselves to there and have not fully. It doesn't seem like they fully considered migrating, much less attempted it, but I don't know. To each their own. But yeah, I'd already pretty much been off of there. I was on Tumblr for a while, and what had happened, I don't actually remember how I came across it. I was scrolling on Twitter for some reason or another, and I actually saw a link that Emma had posted
Oh my gosh.
on her Twitter. It was essentially because I'd already known that like Emma had migrated off to, well, from my, more out the window view of it, because I had never been on Fetty before. I was just like, oh yeah, she's migrated to like Macedon or whatever's going on over there.
So did you know Emma on Twitter as well?
I did, yeah. No, I don't remember exactly how that started. I remember I'd been following Emma for I think like maybe a year or maybe even 2 at a stretch prior to this. And we had like interacted in like very small bits. But I don't think anything major. I think we might have been mutuals, but I don't remember exactly. But yeah, at some point I'd come across this link and it claimed to be an invite code. Now, here's a fun thing. Wet-Dry World is not an invite-only instance. And I didn't know that at the time. My perception was, oh, cool, this is like some like exclusive club thing. Well, I need more excuses to not be on Twitter, so sure, I'll go see what this is all about. So I made my account. I got my first app. I think like my first iOS app. I don't remember what I had used at the beginning, but since then I've mostly been using Ice Cubes.
Sure. And
I very recently got my invite to try out Fetty Text, so I'm giving that a go as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I accepted the invite code, which is basically just a decorative link that just takes you to the sign up page. When I had brought this up to Emma, like I think, I don't know, a couple weeks or a month or so later, I don't remember exactly. I got fucking laughed at so hard for falling for the bit.
Oh my god! So you're telling me you joined Wet-Dry World because you fell for some primo bait?
Yeah.
And the thing is, there was I think some sort of a running joke. It's like, oh yeah, if we just pretend it's an exclusive club with invite codes, then way more people will join. The thing is, it totally works.
Right.
It is such a good strat.
I mean, Charles, I didn't know that Wet-Dry World was open invite until this moment. So yeah, the exclusive like club vibe really does work.
I'm not sure. I honestly, I think it probably should be invite only at this point because it's gotten quite large now, and the moderation team is still very like 2 people small. So
I mean, you guys are on about like I think like 900 active users at least.
We're coming up to it. Yeah, no, I think the last check was like 840 or something.
Right. Yeah. So that's quite sizable for a small instance. And especially since there's only 2 of you. I mean, when I was on Snowden, we had like before it got shut down, RIP Snowden.town.
No.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Good place. Before it closed down, we had about 300 users and we had 2 moderators. So 2 one admin and 1 moderator. So yeah, for Emma and SM to take care of like nearly 900 people is incredible. That's daily active users. Monthly. Is it monthly? Yeah, monthly active users. That's not like an actual like total user count. It's probably much higher.
Like I don't know how many of those people are like actually currently active. I think I maybe am mutuals with 20 Wet-Dry World users, maybe. Give or take. I don't know like the exact numbers. I've never like properly looked at it. That's just my like vague guess.
Well, that's fun. That's fun to know that you two have like you two are so. It's so funny because May has been on Faith for like 2 years, and you've been here for like almost 6 months. Like completely different. Like
yeah,
like May is a veteran.
Basically
been through the war.
And Ari is like a.
I'm a new gen.
And I was a greenhorn, but people are like so confused by the fact that she is one. Like I thought that she'd been on Fatty for like ages, and I just didn't interact with her at all until fairly recently. The reason why I didn't interact with you until fairly recently, Harry, was because you only joined fairly recently. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Yeah, I
remember it was like only a short while into my time on Wet-Dry, I started seeing a bunch of your posts getting boosted. And I very quickly got the impression, wow, this person seems insane. Awesome.
You saw my post on Fetty, and that was just kind of it for you following me, right?
Yeah, I think I'd seen your posts like floating about for a couple days, and then at some point I was just like, yeah, I see them on the timeline enough. Their posts are pretty funny. I'll follow. That's usually my mentality with following a lot of people.
Yay!
It's like if I see their
Great.
stuff enough and it's like consistently like, yeah, it's pretty cool, then I usually follow.
I'm consistently good. Thank you, Ari. Thank you. You're consistently good too. Yeah. So you followed me, and I followed you back because like Wet Dry World, and also like I liked your vibes. And then May followed me because you posted the Welcome to Wet Dry video. I
Oh
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I commented saying, "Oh my god, this is such great work, you two. Like, this is amazing." And then May was like, "Thank you." And then May followed me. I was like, "Well, you know what?
I think I'd seen your posts in the timeline before, and I was just like, this person is maybe a little bit insane. So I don't know. I had at the back of my mind that I knew who you were, but then I saw you comment on the post, and I was like, okay, I might as well follow them.
And I followed you back because like, wow, well, this person seems really cool too, so I'll follow them back. And now here you girls are. You have both been embraced into the Yas family, and also on my podcast too.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I've never done podcast
May's
stuff before, actually. I've thought about doing it personally, but I've just like been like, I don't really know what I talk about.
Well, don't worry because I'm doing all the questioning.
We got the questions.
I got the questioning here. No, that's great. Yeah, and now both you and my family, and May is only here so that I can claim child benefit on her.
Yes,
behalf.
of course, for tax reasons.
Hooray!
Yeah, that's right. Although I mean, I don't actually know how many people who are in the family who like are of the age that would allow me to claim child benefit on their behalf are, and I don't know if I want to count that much. I mean, even before Fetty, the Yas family was kind of like a very gangly, tangled mess of weirdness. It kind of got pretty weird in real life. I mean, like when I was at university, like it was also a thing too. And that kind of got like really kind of tangled and messy and stuff. It got even more tangled and messy and stuff when two people started dating, and then that like technically like caused like an implosion, I suppose, if you want to think of it.
Oh dear.
Because of the implied well, I mean, if one was my sister and everyone was my brother, then you get the kind of, I mean, it was funny to me. I think it was funny like that happened. Probably not so funny to them, but they're the ones who fell in love, not me. So not my problem.
Their business.
Am I right? Their business. That's right. So the first question I actually want to ask you guys is were you two friends on Twitter before Fetty, or was it Fetty where you two became like?
It was Fetty.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
At the beginning of all things, it was Fetty.
That's so cool. Yeah, you two are real close. I get that.
Should I tell this story? I think I reached out to Ari.
Okay.
What was it? I think I just saw one of your posts on the timeline, and I was like, I was really looking for more music producers to follow on Fetty because there's not that many music producers on Fetty. They're mostly still stuck on Twitter, unfortunately. So I was like, oh my god, a music producer. And then I was on Discord, and there's this music producer community Discord server called Form that a lot of music producers are in. So I just searched on Discord for Ari's name, realized it was the same person on Fetty, and just shot a DM saying, oh my god, no way, I recognize you. You're cool.
That's awesome. I remember we then had like a several hours long conversation about underscores, I think.
Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure it was
so
underscores,
cool.
as fate would have it.
We talked about a lot. That's what usually happens when I meet someone. It's just like info dumping.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yep. I know what you mean. That's great. I'm so glad. That's really cool. Yeah, because you two totally have like the BFF vibes going on, which is real cute.
Yeah, we've noted like more recently, like we got like real close, real fucking fast.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's like with me and Jess, right? Like who was on the episode before the last one. Jess is my IRL BFF, and like we're pretty close. We came close real quick actually at university, and sometimes it gets to the point where like we've both pooped at the same time, despite the fact we're like 200 kilometers apart. You know, so I imagine there was a future where the two of you have pooped at the same time, and that's it. You know, that's true friendship right there, I think.
I do make my best posts from the bathroom, I think, possibly.
You know what? You know
This
what?
is true.
But I make
It's
the
true,
better
right?
ones at
It's
my
so-
desk because I have Affinity Photo open, and that's when I do the photo edits.
the best, yeah. You know what? Sometimes the best posts are the ones I thought of on the toilet, and I'm like, yep,
Yeah.
this is good.
My
this is gonna go
most recent banger I know was the Steam Deck vent fume scented candle. I think I made some joke about it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it here. Is Elasticsearch working today? It is! Awesome. I made a post, I think it was just yesterday. I don't know what the big fuss is. This social media engagement thing is easy. All I gotta do is boost a JPEG of a candle every couple hours and it gets like 50 extra boosts and favorites. What I did was I boosted it a couple minutes later and it got another 50 boosts and favorites.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, do you have no? I mean, like,
boost
take
again.
it from, like, take it from me, who's obviously quite a prolific, good poster
Mm.
on Fede. You know, you have no idea, like, how a post is gonna go once
Oh,
you
yeah.
post it. You're like, you know, like one of my best posts of all time on this instance where I'm on 0.0 is some like JPEG I ripped off some like Facebook or something. Like I pressed like right click, download image, share to share to Fede.
Mhm.
I wrote the alt text and just post it, and like that's it. And now it's like 1,000 likes and 900 boosts or whatever.
Good grief.
And then occasionally posts that I make about tech get like a whole load of boosts and stuff. I'm not like a tech person. Like I mean I know bits and bobs about technology, as you guys know from my posts, but I'm not like a coder or programmer or whatever. But
No, we're insane for it. We go crazy on that.
but it's like literally like the like I wrote like a low effort post which is something like what genre of music is Postgres, right? I don't even fucking know what Postgres
Oh.
is. Okay.
No, I'm thinking
Like-
about that now.
But I don't even fucking know what a Postgres is, okay? I just see you guys mention this word like loads of times. I'm like, this must be a thing these guys do on the computer, right? So I'm gonna make a joke about this thing. And that's like I posted like 2 days ago, okay?
I'm
And
thinking it could be
social
like an
media
ambience
must have
jungle,
messaged.
honestly. Postgres.
I posted like 2 days ago, and it's still organically getting like boosts and likes and stuff. Like I don't have to self boost it; it just keeps going, right?
Yeah.
And the other one that keeps doing the rounds is this one where I did like a source. What's it called? You know, on web pages, the source stuff. Page
Oh,
source.
like inspect element.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
inspect
it.
element.
Yeah, that's it. That's something. So what I did was like an inspect element of I think like Clipchamp or whatever, and I replaced the words Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge with Google Adware and Microsoft Adware.
Oh my gosh, I remember.
That's
this
so
post.
I
easy.
just-
It's so
And
easy.
that's so easy. That's so easy, right? Like all I did was inspect element, change a few words around, like, and it's funny, right? It's funny.
Absolutely.
And I posted, but that's it. That's fine. That's like 600 odd likes and like 500 odd boosts. I was like, yeah, it's true, but also it took me like 5 minutes, right? And then compare that to stuff that's like that I like put effort into, like this podcast, I suppose, or like anything that requires like anything that is like more than a paragraph long.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you know, kind of thing. But the other thing is that even when things that I've posted that are like long also get like loads of traction. For example, I posted back on Snowden. I posted like a kind of a small micro essay about the government's anti-protest plan.
Mhm.
And as I put a bit of a headline, I was like, "This is why I'm a threat to the state," kind of thing. And essentially, it was just like a long listing of, you know, the government has outlawed protesting, the government has removed these civil rights and all this kind of stuff. And that post, I think, got like 11,000 likes and so many amounts of boosts. So the So I really have no advice here. I guess it's just like the best way to make your post go viral is to be me.
It's as simple as that, really.
It's as simple as that. You have to be me.
Be funny.
Be funny,
think-
and also be serious.
Yeah.
And also be both in like a relatively like rough. I guess really what posts of mine go viral are like any post.
It's an interesting one because like especially I mean if you're just looking for a post to just get shared around a lot, if you're looking for it to go viral, I'm not some guru with this, so like I can tell you for the most part like, you know, how to go viral in any capacity. But I do know, like, just from my own anecdotal experience, I guess,
Sure.
the things that tend to go real hard on the numbers are just, you know, if it's short, snappy, and agreeable, I guess.
Yeah.
Most of the
I think
time,
that's a good-
that is just funny shit posts. Like Steam Deck vent fumes candle. Literally anyone who's like owned a Steam Deck or knows someone who has a Steam Deck has probably heard of the Steam Deck magic fumes from the vents. For those who don't know, just in case you don't, I noticed this from the first day I got my Steam Deck, and I thought it was just like a temporary thing. No, for some reason, the Steam Deck has a very lingering, like, vent smell. It's like this, the best way to describe it is it's very much factory plastic. So if your console starts getting warm from you playing some games, all you gotta do is just like you put the top of the console to your nose, you just take a deep breath, and you just smell the production line that it came off of. And there's something surprisingly alluring about that, and it's become a whole meme now because, well, haha, it's funny to huff my console's vent fumes. But also, there's a screenshot that's gone around from Steam support. Someone asked, like, hey, is this, like, okay to do? And they were like, look, we don't think that it would hurt you, but you probably shouldn't be huffing your vent fumes. We get that it's a meme, is actually part of it. We understand that this may be a meme, but for your own like personal safety, we would maybe recommend against that.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So good.
Nerd emoji, you can't huff the vent fumes.
No, actually, one of the other posts that did go hard. You know, actually, you're right in what you said, I think, because one of my other posts that have gone hard and continues to like linger on in the Freddy collective is the boiled pizza.
Oh, the boiled pizza.
Like that was just me. That image was like on Facebook. I downloaded it. I pasted it into the text box. I added the alt text. I put the caption. I hit post. That's it. 500 likes or whatever.
No, you know what? That's the trick. You put alt text on it. That's what makes it go hard.
SEO.
I'm not actually entirely wrong. I've heard people like come out and outright say, "Yeah, I would boost your funny meme, but you didn't put alt text on it,
true.
so I don't want to."
It's true. I never boost anything that it doesn't have alt text.
Yeah.
Obviously, the exceptions are bot posts because bots can't add alt text, so I forgive them. For that.
It's a funny
but
one.
Humans,
the
humans should be able to add alt text. And yeah, you know what? Adding alt text is a good way to do it, and especially when it's something like boiled pizza. But you're right. You know, it has alt text. It is a short message. It is disturbing. It is like jarring, right?
Remember, I think I showed my mom the boiled pizza image, and she was very, very confused. But she's also very much like used to the kind of humor that myself and even my friends have.
Right, sure.
Like she doesn't entirely get it, nor does she claim to, but she just kind of accepts it. It's like, yeah, you know, this seems like an Ari thing to do. That makes sense.
So Ari, yeah. Like, and the boiled pizza thing, like, has stuck around so hard that people will tag me in posts about boiled pizza being mentioned in like any capacity. And like there was this one video that came out recently of some guy making like pizza soup in which he boils the pizza.
Oh no.
Right? And that like went hard on YouTube. And then obviously people shared that on Freddy. And every time someone shares that video, when that video came out and it got shared on Freddy, like I think like in like one day I got like 10 different mentions of someone. And Yaseen, you've probably seen this video by now. Yes, of course I have. I have seen the boiled pizza. I've seen the pizza soup. Okay,
I've seen them all. I've seen every
I've
goddamn
seen them
pizza
all.
that's
I've
ever been
seen it.
boiled.
I've seen this. But yeah, I've seen many boiled pizzas in my
I've seen
my life.
many a boiled pizza in my time. Something to tell the grandkids.
Uh,
Remember when I was your age, I saw so many boiled pizzas.
so another question I want to ask both of you, because you're both like music producers.
Yes.
So there's obviously conversations about AI in like art.
Yeah.
But is there a similar kind of conversation in the music scene? Or is AI music kind of like a different thing entirely?
There has recently, I saw, unfortunately, when I opened Twitter for the one time a month that I do.
That's a good way to start talking about opening Twitter. Unfortunately, that's the only kind of fortune you're getting is the bad one.
Exactly.
Twitter, unfortunately called X.
Because I follow a lot of music producers there still. There was a lot
Yeah.
of boosts and replies to this thing that was marketing itself as, oh, you can type in a prompt and it'll generate a song based on the prompt, and it has lyrics and it's musically coherent. And it's definitely a conversation, because it's like when, I don't know if anyone was around for this, but when sort of Stable Diffusion, or was it DALL-E, was just like becoming mainstream.
It was like
and
DALL-E because it was the mainstream one, and then Stable Diffusion was what the slightly more savvy people would then install in their BV computers to just have DALL-E at home.
I think it was called DALL-E Mini or something, and everyone was on Twitter was just like, oh, guys, you can type a funny word.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I made my OC, and it looks like a pencil drawing. That was before it got really good. Everything was like smudgy back then, but now, of course,
it's actually trying to like be on the same level as real
worryingly
fast
stuff. Like, and we're gonna, unfortunately, like inevitably, we're gonna see that in the music scene, and there's definitely a conversation to be had about sort of the right use for those tools and the copyright implementations behind them, especially.
Sure.
I've got a bit of a bold take on that.
Go ahead.
I'm not convinced that we're going to see AI take a huge foothold. I mean, there are areas
in terms
where
of music, or in terms of
in
terms of
music.
music,
I mean,
in terms of art?
in general, in the arts, I would
In the arts, okay.
Yeah, call it optimism or whatever. I don't think it's gonna stay in the arts. I think okay. First of all, the whole thing about calling it AI, I've always gotten bugged about, but I'm not the first to say that. It's the buzzword that we all use. It is machine learning, though, at the end of the day, which you could consider, I suppose, a subset of AI. Like, a machine is kind of learning in a broad sense of it. Like, things are being tweaked internally to adapt to a set of goals that has been laid out in front of it, which is it's pretty much what learning is. but
it's mostly probabilistic as opposed to semantic learning, which is completely different to how humans learn. Humans learn through semantic and context, whereas these machine learning algorithms really only learn through essentially rolling billions of dice at once.
It's a very power hungry operation. But what is it? In general, I think it, like, machine learning has its uses. It can be a valuable tool. However, in the beautiful capitalist fashion, it has been like shoehorned into so much more than it was really meant to support. Like, I can't think of that many like other examples from the past, mostly because eventually we move on, we forget about it. It's like, glad that's over, and then we just move on with our lives. But I mean, it happens a lot in the software space where some new thing will take hold and a load of people think, man, this is the shit, we're gonna put this in absolutely everything. And then 5 years later they're coping with all of the tech debt that they just like piled on top of themselves, and absolutely like hating everything. In terms of art, though, because it is such a, I won't say human, it's such a sapient trait,
yes,
that like you can imitate anything you want with any sort of algorithm or whatever, But part of the reason that people like art most of the time anyways is be it subconsciously or otherwise, because a lot of people don't think too deep on art, but I feel like there is a very strong kind of like just this subconscious human connection that's made with art, because it's a form of expression at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The more expressive the art, the more you're able to connect with it. But if there's an algorithm that's just got a big data set of this art is good, and then it just smashes it all together and gives you this art, well, the thought behind it was it crammed a bunch of stuff that already exists at random and just kind of gave it to you.
Yeah.
There isn't
exactly.
there's no soul in it. And
it's true.
The reason I don't think it would take hold in music especially is because, at least for if you consider music enthusiasts, I feel like there's a much stronger kind of I think people are just a lot more particular about that kind of stuff. People can I think the best way to put it is people can sense bullshit a lot more when it comes to music. Like, people can be very critical. Like, if there's a hint that, you're not really making this kind of music because you enjoy it, you're doing it to appeal to something, or you're doing this for some gain other than just self-fulfillment. People can catch onto that very quickly.
Yeah.
And while I can see, there are tools that I would even consider using that are already prevalent in the music space. Machine learning, like denoising tools, can be a huge one. But then again, that's just another little tool. I think some people get very broad with the definition of tools when they refer to AI. Like, some people go, "Oh, it's just assisting me with my art." No, you're generating the whole piece.
Yep.
And you can make your arguments of oh, but then, if there's defects, I can catch this and then paint out that section, and then the AI will fill in the spaces. Yeah, but you just told it to fix that point. You're kind of you're a director. You could say that. Director of the art, but I don't know if I would say you are the artist behind the art. The artist is more than likely the hundreds of thousands of other artists that your data set is based off of.
Yep. I agree with that take. I agree with you completely, because I think especially with music is that, consider visual art, right? Most people don't really look at visual art as often as they do listen to music, right? And listening to music is an active and also a passive, participation, right? People listen to music in a broader variety of contexts. So in my eyes, I think the only real kind of push that AI music could come into is kind of radio friendly bubblegum pop kind of stuff, right? The stuff that's already fairly machined and fairly cookie cutter. That, I think, would be where AI music could probably have its main kind of raison d'etre to replace the cookie cutter stuff. Because why be a? I mean, it's funny because it is exactly the same logic behind acts like KDA, right? Why actually have human musicians do the work when you can have not human musicians do all the idol work? KDA is a perfect example.
It's there's actual artists behind it, but there's avatars.
So KDA has human performers, right? But
I see them as the kind of K-pop gorillas.
Yeah. In essence, but it's a little bit different in that gorillas, the actual band members are tied to the individual characters, so to speak. Whereas with KDA, the characters are in the band of KDA, whatever, I forgot their names, whatever. But the characters are separate elements to the artists. So for example, I know KDA, for example, has swapped out individual artists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? So
they're not representative of the artists themselves. They're just kind of voice acted, I guess.
Yeah. They're voice actors essentially. The artists are essentially voice actors in KDA. They're swapped in and out, kind of. If you know, and KDA is a perfect pop band because they don't get tired. They don't have illegitimate relationships. They can make music whenever they want because, well, if you don't want to work for KDA, you can just Riot can just swap you out for someone else. And in this sense, you know, Riot could make the perfect ultimate band, which is KDA backed by AI, right? And I think that is kind of what AI music could be used for, to make the perfect pop band in the KDA style. But in terms of like other genres of music where you know, anything, even traditional pop music outside that kind of radio cookie cutter pop music, that I think still requires its like because there's someone like, I don't know, like Michael Bublé, for example. He is popular because he's Michael Bublé, not necessarily because of what he sings or whatever, but like the Michael Bublé the artist and Michael Bublé the art are completely inseparable. If you make Michael Bublé to an AI who can sing whatever he wants, well, it's not really Michael Bublé because it's not him singing the words. You know, and I think you know, AI, but whereas compare that to visual art, right? Visual art in most senses exists to be shown off, and that's why generating AI art is not a big deal to people who aren't necessarily like art appreciators, so to speak.
Yeah,
right.
And it's a tricky one there in general.
It's a tricky one
art,
there, yeah,
because like you have art appreciators, but I think if you ask the average person, like, hey, do you like art? They'll probably say yeah. But I'm not sure. Like, I wouldn't know the numbers exactly, but I'm not sure how many people, I guess, think about the art that much. They'll go to watch a movie and it's like, I enjoyed it, and then they'll leave. And I mean, I'm similar. I'm not hypercritical of media. Of course. But if there is something that's like legitimately off about it, it might irk me. Like, I might have an issue with it. And I do like to, I guess, critique the things I enjoy, because it just gives me, if, you know, at best, it gives me a deeper understanding of the work that I already appreciate. And at worst, it makes me kind of reconsider it, but maybe I find like some alternatives or something. But I'm not sure the average person is kind of, they go about their day, you know? Not everyone wants to be a critic, nor does everyone need to be a critic. In fact, I think we could do with less critics. But like, the thing is with, I guess, the push for AI in media, their big focus is mass appeal, you know? So long as it appeals to the majority, then we don't really need to worry about like all the people complaining about it. We can kind of push them
Yeah, of course.
I don't know how that mentality is going to like carry forward. Like, there's lots of unknowns. I really doubt it'll like just stomp out real like human or whatever sentient artistry forever, because it's a very intrinsically us thing. Like, the only way you can really stomp that out, well, it's a very I could think of a way of doing that, but it's a very grim and like society ending trick.
Yeah, exactly.
Doctors hate them for.
Actually, I if I recall correctly, I believe Hasbro or who is the owner of Wizard of the Coast, correct?
Are they? I think I remember hearing some situation about them a while back, but I don't know. Maybe they're Hasbro.
It's either it's Hasbro or Wizard of the Coast. Basically, big game board game people.
Yeah,
I believe it's Hasbro.
Let's assume it's Hasbro.
Someone is going to correct me, I'm sure, in the replies. So I don't need to worry about that. I actually haven't done a correction in a long, long time. So maybe I'm just telling the truth in every single episode.
Maybe
but
I'm
actually,
just
everything that happens. Maybe everything on the Yascast is the truth at this point. Like if I say something, it retroactively changes reality.
The 5G
to fit. Butterfly effect.
Or if you two say anything, then that also retroactively changes reality to affect it.
That makes sense.
Anyway, my world will have 10 more billion users.
No.
No.
I'll have to move. It's too crowded.
But yeah, Hasbro fired like a whole bunch of like their art people. Or like the designers and artists and whatever, and put up new job listings for essentially like retouch people whose sole purpose would be to retouch AI created design, essentially.
It's a cool way to lose your like most dedicated fans.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I believe the Wizard of the Coast mention is pertinent because they're owned by Hasbro. You know, I'm just gonna Google it. I can just look it up, right?
I feel like
Who owns?
I feel like people who are like really into I don't know, I could be wrong. I feel like people who are very into
Hasbro.
board games
Yes.
are like just, you know, they're passionate about not just the game but also, you know, the work itself. I feel like
I agree.
I feel like having a clue about that would probably make you not want to buy more of their stuff and instead keep the human made stuff.
With the AI stuff, the worry for me is that it will carve out the kind of the casual stuff, right? So with board games, with music, with film, with TV, the AI will carve out the
it's targeted to lowest common denominator.
The lowest common denominator, right? And you think, okay, that's all right, but you know, when you think about it, right, a lot of lowest common denominator stuff, it takes inspiration from you know, other elements of culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, you wouldn't make like you know, like the Marvel films make references to other cultural products in our time, be it poetry or art or whatever, right? And that, you know, and even though, you know, Marvel is like McDonald's fare kind of thing, it's a good easy watching. Without the other elements of that exist in our culture, those Marvel films don't exist. And so if you AI-ify all that stuff, then there's no cultural reference to other elements, and you know, people who watch Marvel may be inclined to learn more about these other cultural elements and broaden their horizons. You got to start from somewhere, right? And if someone's listening to casual music or they're watching films casually or watching TV casually, they all got to start from somewhere. And with AI, it takes away that stuff. It takes away the ability for someone to turn someone from a casual to someone who is a little bit more interested in other things. And board games is a perfect example, right? There's a huge variety of board games out there, and most people will play shit like Ludo and Monopoly, right? But without Ludo and Monopoly, without the introduction to board games through Ludo and Monopoly, without the introduction to film through Marvel, without the introduction of pop music to on the radio, right? Mm-hmm. There's no path from discovering pop music to discovering, like, I don't know, like, you know, rock, and to discovering electronica and so on and so forth, you know. And there's no path from discovering, you know, a Marvel film to discovering, you know, I don't know, Citizen Kane, perhaps. That's like that, you know, Wizard of Oz, whatever, right? And AI will hollow out our culture in a way. But you know what, maybe it might not, maybe it's all just a passing fad. Maybe once these creative companies try to integrate AI into their workflow, realize that it fails so heavily, because now we're at the point where AI art is learning off other AI art and creating this weird like mess that doesn't look so good. So we're already at the point where it's eating itself.
The thing is with the AI trend, it's very, very much pushed by software companies in one way or another. Like you can be like, you could argue Spotify is more of a media company, but they run a platform with lots of developers. They provide like a tech service at the end of the day. And one of the super awesome things about like 99% of large tech industry is it is almost all like venture capital funded. So the whole thing about like AI is like, you know, Ouroboros-ing itself. That is the state of pretty much all venture capital backed tech. So they are actually very, very used to riding by their coattails and just praying that someone picks them up soon. So I feel like if there's any industry that would have a lot of tolerance to failure in this regard, it would be them. But at the same time, you can only fail so many times before eventually even the venture capitalists start going, hold on, there's no money here. This was snake oil all along. How could we have foreseen this? We thought this was a gold mine that would just keep on generating money forever, which is not really how anything works, but, they're not going to listen to that. But
yeah, exactly.
So, I think what'll happen is it's going to stick for a while, and it's going to be really annoying for the time that it does stick, because as I guess they get more and more desperate, as it falls more and more out of favor and they get more and more desperate, companies are going to shove it into more and more things. Like, people are already complaining, oh, fresh installs of Windows 11 will just have a Bing appear on the side. And it's like, oh, by the way, I'm tracking this, and that to improve your experience. And all sorts of other platforms are trying to integrate their own little take on, be it large language models or machine learning, image generation. And I guess we're getting into the audio space now. They're going to keep putting it to more and more things, and it's going to get really, really annoying. And then eventually products will just get deprecated. I think that's the way that it's going to go. I mean, VR had a huge boom, and I love VR.
I agree.
I'm very convinced that will stay, but there were signs very early on that there were lots of people getting into VR that really didn't need to get into VR. I don't actually really want to do my Walmart shopping with a VR headset on. You can just go to a Walmart. I don't need this virtual assistant guiding me through as I put fake items into my fake cart so it can be delivered to me in a truck. I can just go in my car or take a bus or whatever.
Or go online,
or I could just order it online, like I've been doing.
You're exactly right on the AI front. Zuck, I think put in was it 50 billion or something?
Yeah, Meta's. How did I forget that? Yeah, Meta's take on the metaverse. The whole thing that they renamed their company around, where it's people are going to do all of their business or almost all of their business in VR. He had a kind of cool idea in a sci-fi movie that is 2-hour runtime. That would probably be okay.
Yeah, he just watched Ready Player One and wanted it to be real.
It's very Minority Report.
Yeah,
right? It is exactly straight out.
But if you actually extrapolate, that 2-hour runtime movie into an actual cultural revolution that's supposed to stick for generations to come, I don't see that panning out very well. I don't see how that would not have, even if it were to stick, which it hasn't been. Meta is reeling in that at the moment. The industry's not that interested in VR. Some businesses will make great use of it for, I guess, prototyping. And in lots of cases, VR is great for training. Perfect, good application for it. That's actually super cool.
Yeah.
But
VR is
the
good.
idea that I'm going to take every single one of my business meetings with a headset on, rather than I get it. People don't really want to come into the office, but even me, a very insular person, can respect, the positive human, back to back of just being in front of each other and talking. I can totally appreciate that. It's VR had a similar state where it was kind of shoved into everything, and it was really, really annoying while they were doing it. We had the metaverse buzzword appear, and now, people aren't really talking about it anymore. People are joking about the metaverse, mostly in tech circles, but I think in the mainstream, it's we kind of just forgot this happened. Facebook is still Facebook. Whatever.
Most people know VR and will think of a Quest, right? At best. But they won't think of the Horizon Worlds bullshit or whatever kind of thing. Or maybe, but the thing is VR is a perfect example because Microsoft went hard on VR to the point where every installation of Windows 10 and Windows 11 had Windows mixed reality built in.
And now have you heard about that?
Yeah, so mixed reality is being deprecated.
Yep.
Which means that if you have a mixed reality headset that was running Windows reality, it is now going to be a hunk of junk.
So we were talking about that actually with another friend of ours.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm not sure if it'll like brick headsets. There was a lot of very early kind of like freak out over, oh my god, all of these headsets are going to become junk. What will happen, what it's looking like will happen, is headsets will become, I think, a little bit less functional. I think like you can still play Steam VR, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's still fine. I'm not super in the know on this, so like I'm not.
That Steam VR doesn't require a mixed reality anyway, so that'll be okay.
But what'll probably end up happening, because it's getting deprecated, essentially all that just means is like, hey, we're not going to provide like a whole lot of further support for this or any further support. It'll still be around to give people like a migration period, but eventually we'll just stop providing it. What'll likely end up happening, I think, maybe it's optimistic, is open source community will probably like go and reverse engineer the shit and build their own driver. And assuming it can be done, and assuming it's not like a huge heinous piece of garbage to work through, we could end up actually better on the other end than we came in. Rather than having this proprietary Microsoft, setup or whatever, instead you've got open source tooling, which could potentially leave you open to actually do a lot more cool stuff with your headset. It's optimistic, but we already have people jailbreaking Quest 3s, right? So, who's to say we can't do some pretty magical stuff with WMR in the next 2 years?
I agree. I agree with you on that completely. And I think it's funny that we talk about Horizon World, because like I have a Quest 3, right? And it is a great machine, by the way. It is.
I have heard quite a boost from the 2.
I had a Quest 2 beforehand, and the jump, I feel like so obviously like, the visual quality and stuff is much better.
I've heard pass-through is great now. Yeah.
The pass-through is actually usable. Like, some people say that it can read their phones off it. I think I can read my phone. I just don't really want to. But
you should try reading your phone on a Valve Index pass-through. Oh boy.
Oh gosh.
but pass-through just makes it so much more interactive with your physical environment. Like, I remember the other day, I was wearing it, and I realized like I left the door open, right? If with the Quest 2, I'd have to take off the headset, look at the door, go to the door, close it, put the headset back on, and get on. But with the Quest 3, I can just walk to the door, see it in through the cameras, close it, and it makes such a huge difference in just being there in the space that you're already in, right? And I feel like the jump from the Quest 2 to the Quest 3, both in one, the lenses actually are good now. I wear glasses, and the Quest 2 was hell for me because there was so much chromatic aberration because of the differences in the light,
the lenses,
the lenses in the headset and the lenses on my face. So there's a difference there, and the chromatic aberration is absolutely awful, and I couldn't see like half shit. With the new lenses in the Quest,
pancake lenses on the Quest 2, or is that only
no, they're Fresnel. They're Fresnel.
Oh, yeah. Index has Fresnels as well.
The Quest 3 has pancake lenses, which can be much closer to your face and much closer to glasses, and I can actually see. Like it feels like how it felt to have worn glasses for the first time, but in VR. Like that's the difference to me. It feels really like cool. I'm wearing glasses again. That's the best way I can describe it to someone who doesn't understand why it's a big deal. And like while the technology inside is kind of like a mid-console refresh in a sense, the actual kind of implications of difference between the Quest 2 and the Quest 3, it feels more like difference between the PS3 and the but more like jump between the PS2 and the PS3 in that sense. The capabilities that it has are the capabilities that are much more significant. So in like I'd say like a year or two from now, it will be a good device. The thing is that Meta has already plowed like $50 billion into metaverse shit, and they
need to make their money back somehow.
And also, secondly, despite the fact that Zuck makes a loss on on metaverse shit, right? They are really the only ones making mass market headsets, which means that they're number one, right?
Well, they're the one making
and
cheap mass market headsets.
right. There's
Yeah.
and the only other competitor in the space is fucking ByteDance. You know, the TikTok people. So
Yeah.
Aren't they like pulling out or something? I don't know.
no. They're gonna release the Pico 4 headset fairly soon, which is gonna be their competitor to the Quest 3. I don't know if it's gonna be like any different in any way. The Pico 3 or whatever was like a side grade to the Quest 2 kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But no, they're going all in on making a VR headset like Zuck. But like even the thing is that Zuck rules Facebook with an iron fist, right? He is dictator and shareholder and board member all in one, right? So
Yeah.
it's his personal whims that guide Facebook. So whether he's still past invested in AR in 2, 3, 5 years from now is a completely different story altogether, you know. But hey, that's the way it comes. But until then, the Quest 3 is, I think, a very, very good.
It seems a cool one. I've heard some people, I know it's more than one, who have had like those kind of like wow moments, and these are people who are like already maybe not necessarily in the VR space, but they're at least in the tech space. So like they've been following the trends, they've tried out headsets. And I've heard of a couple people with the Quest 3, they'll see like some really cool thing in like mixed reality mode or something like that in pass-through, and they'll pull out their phone to take a photo of it.
Oh my god, you know,
I think you had one of those. I think you were one of the people I saw.
I had the story, So one of the things, so the great thing about the Quest 3 is that essentially it's an Android phone. It runs a modified version of
just VR
I've got
Android,
a great
basically.
story about this.
AOSP. Now I'm not really doing anything too much. I'm just modding like the game files and whatever. I'm not gonna like jailbreak it and revamp the whole thing.
Fly hacks.
but my primary aim was to basically break into Beat Saber so I can add custom songs to it, and that requires you to turn on developer mode and sideload applications. So basically, I want to sideload stuff onto Quest 3, right? So what I did was I was seeing my computer, okay, and I was doing all the stuff in the headset, and basically what it was is I had the headset kind of occupying the top half of my vision, right? So I could still see into the lenses, and then the bottom half of my vision was looking at the keyboard and my phone in my hand, right? And then what happened was that something kind of like funny. So what it was that the default image for some of the mods was just like a scribble saying "insert image here."
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, this is so funny. I'm going to take a photo of this. So I have my phone, open the camera app, double click the camera app, and I move it up into my visual field, the top half. I'm like, wait, I can't take a photo of this. It's not actually there, right?
You know what?
And your brain.
You want to do an innovation in the VR space? The Oculus app is the companion app. You could just make that an actual thing you can do.
Ooh.
Phones have gyroscopes. You could just track where the phone is, get the gyroscope information for some more accuracy, and then just wherever they hit the snap button, you just take it relative to where the phone is in world space.
That is such
you could
a cool
totally
idea.
do that.
That's totally doable. That's totally so cool.
Zuck, get on it.
Zuck, get on
me.
it right now.
Don't hire me. I don't know if I want to work at Meta.
but like it's weird because like the pass through image obviously isn't like super high res or whatever. Like I definitely wouldn't cook using it. I'll tell you that. But that doesn't matter, right? Because your brain is. Someone's gonna try, of course, but like it doesn't matter, right? Because your brain is very easily tricked by depth information, and the pass-through gives really good depth information.
Oh, the eyes are incredibly, like, of all the senses, I think they're the easiest to fool.
Yeah.
Eyes are, like, easy. It's sound that's actually, like, a really tricky one. There's a whole thing about how, like, the ears are, like, the most easily offended. Like, you could watch a video with, like, really high production value, but if the audio is, like, recorded poorly, it puts people off.
Yeah. Audio is definitely like one of the things that puts people off. I mean, your ears are very sensitive to changes in latency, for example. Like, I mean, they have to be. That's how your ears work. So if your ears will do a lot of correction, especially in terms of like distance, for example. So if you're further away from me, your ears will kind of correct in
Yeah.
your head for the distance, right? So if you're actually editing video and audio together, and the person who is on screen is actually far away from the viewer, you should actually edit the audio to be ever so slightly delayed, so it
Yeah.
matches what the brain would perceive from that distance. Because if you're cutting the audio, so the audio is like immediate, whereas that person is maybe like 0.01 milliseconds behind, your brain will pick up that discrepancy and it will feel weird. So yeah, your ears are really difficult to trick because they're designed to kind of pick up very small differences in latency to create the stereoscopic 3D soundscape that you exist in.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's enough gushing, I think, about the Quest 3. That's more than enough for I'll ever give to Facebook, you know.
Yeah. VR is cool, and it's getting
VR is
more and more impressive with every passing week. It's very cool. What's been happening.
So hyped for Deckard, like whenever that releases.
Oh, so much. That's the Apple Vision Pro that I want. I want it to run Linux.
So, you both of you are musicians.
Yes.
And which we've expressed many times.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you guys get into making music? May, if you want to go first.
Oh, this is okay. Actually, I think I remember now. So back in, I think it was 2015. I used to watch these videos on YouTube where it was they had these like button controllers called launch pads, where it's basically like a grid of buttons and you press a button on the grid and it would react with a sound, and people would chop up songs and map them to buttons and then play them in a sequence, sort of like they were playing an instrument. And each button could also light up, so people would make amazing light shows to go with them. And I was so into watching those light show videos that I really wanted to get a launch pad for myself, and I got one. I think I still have it with me in a couple years ago, more a couple, and it came with a free copy of Ableton Live 9 Lite, which is a digital audio workstation software.
Let's go.
And I saw that that's how people were making these launchpad covers, by chopping up the songs and then using Ableton to map them to each MIDI button.
Right, sure.
So I downloaded that software intending to only use it for light shows, basically, and it was like a gateway drug into music production for me, because it came with a bunch of free samples as well from some random online sample company, and I downloaded those and I put them in and it's like, hey, this is pretty fun, you know, just like putting these loops together. I didn't know people do this, so I just kind of did that more and more, really enjoyed it. I started uploading stuff to SoundCloud, which is still there but privated. And I think this was also tied into how I was doing YouTube, because I was one of those kids where it's like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up. I want to make Minecraft videos.
When they don't know about the horrors.
Exactly.
Like, I still want to do YouTube stuff myself, but I want to be careful with it.
Yeah. So I was also uploading my music to YouTube at the time, so that was it tied in well to other stuff I was interested in at the time, really. And it's just kind of gotten better. I've just sort of fucked around with software more as it's gone on, and now I'm taking it as A-level, so.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's great. I listened to some of your music, man. I think it's really good. I quite enjoy listening to your stuff. Obviously, the newer stuff is much more developed than your older stuff.
It's always the newer stuff.
But you gotta start from somewhere, right? Like the reason why you learn a recorder in like, you know, when you're.
Oh my gosh!
The reason why you learn on the recorder is not because it's a great instrument. It's because it gets you, you know, understanding the basics of what makes noise, essentially, right? So May, does that mean you're primarily like a digital musician? I
would say so. I think I did a couple like years of keyboard lessons, but it never really went anywhere.
Okay.
I've been meaning to sort of pick up an instrument, and I might try and I think I'm going to try and learn electric guitar soon.
Cool.
That's really intrigued me. So
right. Well, you should get a Fender Stratocaster, only because one, that's the name I had, and also because that was my guitar when I was your age, actually.
Nice.
So I think it broke like a long time ago, and I haven't replaced it, and I had to go to
Oh,
university and all this kind of stuff, and I
that's
really,
upsetting.
yeah, I know it's funny. I was in a band actually for a little while at school.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was so cool. We basically formed because of we for year nine music it was, and we had to create like a piece, either using our own instruments or like the school's like music keyboard things.
Oh my gosh.
And so I was guitar, my friend was guitar, my other friend was also guitar, we had a drummer, and we had a vocalist and a pianist too. I became the bass guitarist because you can't have a band with 3 guitars. Well, you could if you're Cartel, who are a great like pop punk band. They had 3 guitarists and one
damn.
bassist. I
Wow.
don't. It worked. Like their music is great. Okay, they even produced an entire album inside a bubble. Okay, for like a TV show. It's very cool. Anyway, they have 3 guitarists. Their music is great. But no, so I had to be a bassist with an electric guitar, by the way. Not electric bass guitar, an electric
Oh
guitar.
my
I was a
gosh.
bassist. So I just used the top 4 strings. Look, we were like 14 years old. We
It's
had
whatever
like no
works.
time. You know,
You
Arguably the
Anyway.
best way to do it. Yeah, you work with what you have.
work what you got, right? So from that, we decided to cover a song by a band whose name I forgot. Oh, Stone Sour. So I cover Stone Sour song. The thing with this particular song that we chose was that in most music, the kind of the flow is determined by the bass and the drums, right?
Yeah.
And by chord progression in the whatever, right? In this particular song, the flow was kind of determined by the bass and drums, but also in kind of like a shoegazy way, the vocals were also like a guiding force there too.
Mm.
And like, okay, sure, fine, whatever. So here's the thing. We practice. We got it nailed down. And then literally like an hour before we were supposed to go on the stage, our vocalist just dropped out.
Oh.
Nice.
Just didn't want to participate.
The
didn't want to do
classic
anything.
band.
I'm like, holy shit, we are broken up before we have a name and before our first show. Fantastic. Because at that time we were just working, like our name was like working title, because I said that as a joke.
It's a baller name.
A banger name, right?
I'm pretty sure there's like a couple artists that go under the name Unknown Artist with Untitled Track 1.
Untitled Track 1. So we went on the show. Well, firstly, my amp like stopped working, so that was great. So no bass there. The drums were way too loud. The piano was way too quiet, and we didn't have a vocalist. So we just kind of we worked through it together. And it turns out that, well, it didn't matter what we did because we were the best ones there. So
Nice.
yeah, we got an A.
It didn't matter because all the other bands had also broken up, actually.
No, everyone else just kind of sucked because they didn't care about music that much. But we did, and we did well. So yeah, that's my music story. But yes, you should definitely play electric guitar because one, girls with guitars are better than girls without guitars.
True.
That is
And
facts.
And two, it's just a great instrument to play. Like it's so cool. Like you tell people you play electric guitar, like
Super
oh my
versatile.
god,
Yeah.
Wow. Like you'll get all the bitches. I'm just
Riz
saying.
factor.
It's a multiplier, honestly.
It's a Riz multiplier. Like they all flock to you. Okay. Like you all you have to do is play like the first like 3 chords in Wonderwall, and they'll do all this. And they'll do all the singing for you.
I just play
and they'll think you're
BAG.
really cool. So, Ari, what about you? What's your music origin story?
You're gonna love this. So
Okay. I already love everything you said.
it all started way back around the more the early 2010s. There were these crazy YouTube videos of these people with launch pads, right?
We're so similar.
May and I have talked about this before, I think, and we were laughing at how similar the story was. So yeah, I was into launchpad stuff as well. I was like, wow, this is super cool. I just liked the flashy lights. They were super cool. I love the choreography of it, I think, was the thing that really sold me. And there were some like genuinely really, really cool mashups that I had seen. There was one from was it Madion? had done
Pop culture.
Pop culture. That's still like I think my favorite mashup maybe of all time, especially in terms of Launchpad shows. But what was it? I was really into that for a while, and my mom picked up on it, and she's had this really cool approach when it comes to, I guess, getting me into things. Every once in a while, she'll just like notice that I like hyperfixate on a thing that's like out of the norm for me. Because at the time, my only two interests, like I was into gaming and I was very into code since I was like baby. Like from the age of like 5, I like I played all sorts of like just games on the family computers, and I was just like, I really want to make a game. That would be super cool. But she's always wanted me to like branch out to do more stuff. And only now, after all this time, has she realized that was a terrible idea, because now I have stupid expensive tastes for like everything. It's not even like I don't like expensive things. It's just the things I like happen to be expensive.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But they're also really useful. But
of course.
Yeah. No, she'd taken note that I was into that, and then it was like one Christmas she had gotten me my first Launchpad. I think it was a Launchpad Mark II from Novation. So I had that, and it was super awesome. It also, I think, came with a copy of Live 9 Lite. So I played around with it.
Free samples, right?
Oh yeah, it had a couple free samples for sure. I found very quickly, wow, this software is actually pretty difficult for a beginner to navigate. And I played around with it for a bit, and I don't remember how long I was at it, but I do remember getting bored kind of early in, and I just kind of stopped using it. And so that was like the first time I had ever had like an interaction with it. And this is where our stories kind of diverge. So I went back to my usual. I gamed, I did code, and I was very into the YouTube thing from where I'm going to say 2015 up to, well, I guess to present. It's just I haven't uploaded pretty much anything over the past year because I've been busy with so much other stuff. But what was it? So yeah, I just wasn't really doing music stuff. I was more focused on games, code, and videos. Those are the things that I like doing.
Sure.
And then at some point, it was around, I think 2018, maybe early 2018. I'm not 100% sure. I was a music listening enthusiast for like quite some years. And in particular, one of my favorite artists at the time was Tokyo Machine. Super upbeat, like, I guess kind of like throwback to like arcade style music.
Right.
Very heavy electronic stuff. And I've always been like a huge sucker for that. And I was super, super into their music. And at some point, it kind of clicked again. And I was like, I really want to make that kind of music, because this is the only guy that I'm aware of that makes this kind of music, and I would like more of this music. That's been my approach to almost all of the like creative things that I do. It's just, I like this thing, I want more of it. What's the best way to have more of it? Make it yourself. So
waiter, more Tokyo Machine, please.
More Tokyo Machine, waiter. But yeah, so what happened was I did not pick up the, I think, expired trial copy of Live 9. I picked up a very legitimate copy of FL Studio. I think FL Studio, would it be 20 or 19? I don't remember.
12. It's 19 doesn't exist. 12 is the one before 20.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I forgot what their numbering scheme was.
Oh, yeah. FL Studio has a weird, like, so FL Studio 20 came out on the 20th anniversary of the software.
Cool.
Okay,
So
yeah, I
just
get it.
decided to
I get
skip
it.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Went straight to 20 from 12. It makes no sense, you know.
Sure. Okay,
Let me
cool.
have a look
cool.
at FL 20. Oh, it was 20 that I got. Okay, cool. So it's FL Studio 20, and I made a bunch of stuff, but I made like 2 complete songs with it. One of which is actually still available to listen to. If you look up Melodute Traveler, that is my first ever song that I made back in like 2018. So I'm telling you what it is just for anyone who is curious, but I don't actually recommend that you listen to it because it may set a precedent for all of the music that comes after, which is hilariously different now. That song in of itself was actually inspired by, because it was still what was on the mind. I was really into Tokyo Machine stuff. If you actually listen to the melody from that song and you take the melody from Tokyo Machine's Bubbles, they are almost the exact same because that project was actually me trying to imitate like a teaser that they had released. So it was a teaser. I didn't have the full song yet. It wasn't released. So I was working off like little scraps from like a Twitter teaser that they had released like weeks before the upload. Made that song. That was cool. I had made like one other thing that never ended up getting released because it just never kind of got like fully finished. I wasn't super happy with it. And what had happened was, I think just because I had taken an interest in music production, I had been recommended more and more a bunch of like deadmau5 production stream clips. So I started following a lot of that stuff. And it just generally like lots of like, producer tips and whatever. And one thing I had noticed around that time was, hey, deadmau5 uses Ableton Live, not FL Studio. I wonder if I should give that a look. So I obtained a very legitimate copy of Ableton Live, and I started playing around with that. And I've been on that ever since, and I've enjoyed it so much that I actually have a legitimate license for Ableton Live these days. So you can't get me, Ableton. I pay for your software now, and it's one-time licenses. You can't haul me for any of the months prior.
Pay for your audio software.
I do actually recommend it.
If you can.
Like, okay, I'll be real with you. Pirating music software is stupid easy, and if you are starting off, honestly, I can't recommend against it because it is prohibitively expensive to get started. But there is a lot of convenience to owning the software, except for some rare cases. iLok, I hate it. Sucks. May can attest to that. Any piece of music software that uses iLok, if you absolutely have to use it, at least be prepared for a world of pain. This super awesome like music software DRM that makes it so you can only use your software on one device at a time, and every single time I migrate from my PC to my laptop, both of which are very good for making music on, one's a BVPC, one's a MacBook, it's a match made in heaven for audio work, right? Every single time I switch over, iLok pops up on any project that uses these plugins and is like, hey, so we don't recognize this device anymore. We need you to like completely reactivate your license every single time you do this.
Cringe.
It's so cool. I hate iLok so much. But for the majority of stuff that I use, like it's like, yeah, I use Ableton as my DAW. Serum is my main synth. Now, I've paid for Serum. I paid like $190 for it. I did it on like a rent-to-own scheme, so it was like I think it was like €10 for 19 months. It was a fine deal, worked for me. It means I had Serum. Awesome. However, if you are like starting off and you want to do electronic, I could honestly recommend Vital. I think May uses Vital, well, definitely way more than me. So she can attest to it. But Vital is really good. It's basically Serum, but free. It has mostly the same features. Super extensible and all this kind of stuff.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, no, so it was like a weird, I really wanted to do Launchpad stuff, and then I had trouble with the software and I got annoyed and I left. And then I really wanted to imitate artists, which is actually how like some of the best works get made. So of course that's what like really reeled me in, was me just wanting to make stuff like the people I already admire and look up to. And here we are, basically, after...
That's great.
God, okay, it was like somewhere, I think late 2017 was when I started.
Sure.
So it has been 6 going on 7 years.
Wow, that's cool.
Good grief. Many more to come.
And so do you have any physical stuff?
So I mean, I do have my audio interface. I upgraded that not too long ago.
Like a physical desk?
Like audio interface that I like plug my microphone headphones into. I do
Oh, right,
have
okay.
I do still have the launch pad. However, apparently the Mark IIs were particularly bad for faulty wiring. So
Oh.
mine only works if the cable is in at a very, very precise angle. It's not a problem with the cable. It is an actual internal fault that my other friend with a Mark II also has.
I have a Pro and I have this issue.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
I've got
great.
a launch key 25. Is it a Mark II?
Launch key? Is that another miss key fork?
No.
Oh my God.
It's a 25 key MIDI keyboard, so it gives me like 2 octaves and I
Cool.
think a couple other notes on the side. It's pretty handy if I want to just like quickly trill out a melody or something. I have tried like live playing stuff and it is really cool, but I do want to at some point upgrade to a larger keyboard so I can actually play stuff, because one of the problems with having 2 octaves is you can kind of hit one range and that's it.
Yeah, that's not.
You can't.
That's not
I
really
can't do
much.
my
Yeah.
high melody and my low bass notes at the same time. That I'd have to just do them in 2 separate takes, which kind of kills it a little bit.
Sure.
Next to that, I also actually have. I think it's Pioneer, like a record box, Pioneer DDJ 400. Let me look up the model again. I think it's a DDJ 400. Yes, it is. The basically like DJ discs, basically a little set of
Cool.
DJ decks. I have not used either in a little while, mostly just because most of my music is production rather than live playing. But at some point, I think actually maybe if I can make it work for my next album release, it would be really cool to do a live mix. That would be really sick.
Cool.
I do have a acoustic guitar as well, but it's like I got it. It was given to me actually as a gift like ages and ages ago. It has 3 rusty bass strings and 3 plastic trainer strings or vinyl strings. Nylon, that's what they are. Haven't used that crazy often, but I haven't fully developed the calluses of my fingers yet, so it's very painful when I do pick it up there once in a while.
That's true. You gotta develop those calluses.
Yeah.
Well, actually, funny enough, when I was 10 years old, I was watching Launchpad videos, and
hell yeah.
Oh my God.
no.
And it was all downhill.
I have actually watched Launchpad videos too. Like I've watched like
they were
Sean Wasabi.
Huge. Oh, Sean Wasabi's
Oh my
great
God.
too.
The MIDI
Do
fighter.
Launchpad videos, yeah.
I remember I wanted a MIDI
think-
fighter in particular, I think, for a while, but they were like stupid expensive.
$400, I think, and the Launchpad was like
ouch.
$200 at the time. So
It's a no-brainer, I think.
It's actually kind of funny because I saw Sean Wasabi's videos and I thought, man, like could I do that? And I thought maybe not, and I just left it. So I wonder if there's a power universe somewhere where I remember watching his videos when I was in university. So I would have been around about the same age you are now, Ari. And I thought this kind of stuff. Oh, maybe I could do that, but I didn't know what the hell that thing he was using was. Like I originally thought it was just like some custom made instrument thing. So I didn't really think
it was actually.
Oh,
yeah, wasn't the
okay.
MIDI fighter built for Sean Wasabi?
Oh.
The MIDI fighter existed as a 4x4 grid that this company DJ Tech Tools sold.
Sure.
And Sean Wasabi wanted a 16x16 one to compete with the like launch pads that were out, so he could play like full, have the full amount of buttons. So DJ Tech Tools made a custom MIDI fighter for Sean that had 64 buttons.
Cool.
Unfortunately, that MIDI fighter got stolen in a car, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
I heard.
Oh,
If you
dear,
look
that's
up
sad.
Sean Wasabi, I lost all my eggs. I don't remember what pad they were playing on. It could have been a 64, it could have been a 16, but
64.
it was 64. It was like just some little like short ditty that they had made, and then I think in the description or something they had mentioned, all my shit got stolen. So I'm kind of
Crazy.
starting from scratch. It was like
Yeah.
They had like had the stuff in like the boot of their car or something, and I think someone like broke into their car while it was
Oh.
idle.
Yeah,
That's
he
awful. That's
he explained it when after a few years later, so many people wanted a MIDI fighter for themselves that they did a limited run of like mass-produced MIDI fighters
Mm.
so that people could buy them. And they did a launch video where Sean explained the story of how the original MIDI fighter was stolen and stuff like that. So that's how we know.
Crazy.
I wonder where
But I
that,
imagine
where that
it's like
thing is
there's
now, actually.
I imagine there's a parallel universe somewhere where I like like the deviation in decisions, right? Well, I could be like using a launchpad right now, I don't know. But then maybe I wouldn't have been on Fetty, and maybe wouldn't have this podcast or whatever. Or maybe it would have happened. Like maybe the three of us make launchpads. I don't know. But anyway,
Butterfly
I think it's
effect
kind
is
of
crazy.
it's funny. But I think that's just proof that we're all related.
Of course.
So do you want? Let's take some audience questions.
Let's
I am
do
very
that. I'm
aware
excited for some
of-
audience
of-
questions.
I'm very
Oh,
aware of
yeah.
the time. This has been a very, very in-depth episode, I think, which is very
Yeah, I
nice.
think we're at the my file's around the 2-hour mark. So we've had some pauses.
Yeah, you're at I mean, we'll subtract like 10 minutes because of the delay or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't particularly matter. I mean, my future me will hate me for doing this, but what is the point of future me anyway? Right. So in terms of the episode editing, not in terms of like creative reality,
Not an existential sense.
not
Bless.
next to stuff, just in the editing stuff. So the first question is from Robin Black. What time will episode 8 be? Oh, wait, never mind. That's
What time will the episode be at? We're gonna find out.
so. Well, his question was, what time will episode 8 be live? But obviously, it's already come out now, so that question's already been answered. The first actual question is, oh God.
That's a good start.
Oh God, this is the May hell thread.
Oh.
I didn't.
So
I
this
saw this, but I didn't read through it. I just saw someone say May Hell Thread, and they tagged like I think 50 other names.
so this is a question from May, who is at meow.worm.cat.
Yeah.
Maybe the council of May Hell Frederick can come up with a question, and all the Mays that she knows were tagged in this question, including me, by the way, because I'm an honorary May.
Of course.
As we established in a previous round of May Health Frederick.
Indeed.
My name is Yassi_May, I guess.
That makes sense.
Let's see. Oh, and yes, May asked. So May, as in the one on this in this episode right now,
We're going to
asked,
put labels on them.
Yes, May, why are you so amazing and beautiful? And then I said, "Wow, I didn't say the guest can't ask questions." Then I said that I'm going to ignore this question, but I've already asked the question, so we can't really ignore it.
You gone and played yourself.
Yeah, I'm just not going to ask this question. The question that, but May at isabadad.dev asked, how did you pick your name? There we go. So I guess that's for both of you.
You
Why
can do
did you
both.
pick Ari or May? Ari, if you want to go first, why are you
Yep.
called Ari?
So I know my name has origins from somewhere. It's kind of difficult to pinpoint exactly where it came from. I can tell you names that predate it. That might have been clues, though, because that's basically what I work off.
Okay.
So, because I am a huge goddamn nerd, and I'm very sentimental about, I guess, my equipment. Because, I mean, I do lots of stuff with it. The memories are kind of shared with them. I have names for pretty much all of my computers.
That's cute.
So my PC in particular, I've named Aria, which may sound somewhat similar.
Interesting.
And it's been named Aria for good couple years. I think there were maybe some other inspirations somewhere along the line. I know I had another friend named Ari prior to me joining Fetty. But yeah, I think what had just happened was that name just stuck for some reason. Like, it was a short, snappy. It was a maybe not snappy, but it was a nice, just, I feel like, kind of gentler name
It's a
that
very nice name.
I quite
yeah.
liked. It resonated with me a lot. There was actually the you could, I guess, call stage name or display name or whatever you want to go by, that I go by now is Ari Melody.
Yep.
and I consider that in terms of online interactions, I call that like the full name, basically. But the way that actually started, my prior alias is Melodute. And what had happened was the name Melody kind of came along around, you could say, I guess, the egg phase a little bit. When I was, just playing around with the name a little bit, the name Melody came up. I used it in like some very small capacities and whatever. It's currently,
by the way.
Oh, of course. Well, like even at the time, I think actually, no, I don't know when it really kind of started to click for me. It's a very subtle, slow developing thing, honestly. But no, so what had happened was the name Melody kind of appeared as a spin on Melodute. And for a while, I was thinking that might have actually been the name that I rolled with. But then the name Ari came up, and I was like, I like both of these. And then I slapped them together. I'm like, hey, Ari Melody. That's actually got quite a nice ring to it. And
it does.
Give it a couple months of
Ari
me
Melody.
just like kind of rolling with that internally with friends and stuff. And now it is plastered on pretty much all of my accounts retroactively.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great. What about you, May? Where's May come from?
Oh gosh, honestly, it came to me in a dream. I don't really know. When I was just figuring myself out a few years ago, still am, but when I was
We all are.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not. I know who I am.
When I was just coming to terms with my identity a couple of years ago, I was just trying to think of what I want to call myself, and I don't know how the name May just kind of stuck out to me. Not for any particular reason, it just did. My music alias I can go a lot deeper into, however.
I didn't even mention my old alias. That's got some history too.
You can do yours after.
Yeah.
So my current alias is Stringy, which is strange when you first hear it, but I'll get to it. So, as I mentioned previously, I started uploading my music to SoundCloud, and when I realized that when I was uploading to SoundCloud, I needed an artist name or a stage name or something. So I really quickly clobbered together Stringy Synth, which was a really strange combination. I was just trying to... it sounds like an AI-generated word at this point. It's just a combination of two musical words that I thought sounded cool together. And I just kind of released music under Stringy Synth for a while. I renamed my YouTube channel to Stringy Synth, and I think it was Stringy Music at some point, Stringy Gaming, and over time, I think in like 2017, I want to say, I dropped the like suffix of music and gaming or synths, so I just became Stringy. As for my like online usernames, a lot of places I have the username ET-Stringy. That actually comes from my two initials of my dead name. Put with Stringy on a suffix.
I still remember when the first couple times me reading that, and I told you I think a couple weeks later, I misread it as L Stringy. So I just
I used to watch a lot of Twitch streams when I was younger, and every time I would join a chat and I would say hello, the streamer would always like say like E Stringy or like L Stringy or like T Stringy, like never ET Stringy, or it would be at Stringy. It's like
Spanish may be like L Stringy.
Spanish may. I'm in Spain. But, the next question is from me. Auxiliary note: I have scheduled. Oh, never mind. Okay, well I'll just read it anyway.
You're just blindly reading these.
I just blindly read them. Like, there's no need for me to engage with them any deeper than what is on the screen. Auxiliary note: I have scheduled guests for the next 4 episodes and potentially beyond, but that information is kept in a secret vault in Switzerland, protected by armed guards.
I remember the Swiss vault.
And then needs someone to check. And then other people are like, "Oh my god, I want to check it." No. Anyway, so I have a challenge for the two of you.
Oh.
It's challenge time.
Oh boy.
Oh shit.
You should both post the word meow as fast as you can.
This is a challenge? Are you serious?
Yes.
Done.
Oh shit. I'm now posting my sleep. Wait, what do you mean done? It's not even on my feed yet. That or
refresh.
WebSockets are. God damn it! That's it. You're getting.
The muscle
You're
memory's
getting
down.
GD React, GD normal React. It's over.
Did you post the word, Ari?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, that's fine. So did May win there?
I think May
I
won.
won. I mean,
By-
we have the receipts here right now.
It says by 2 seconds. Yes.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Wait. Oh my god, the timestamp is exactly the same on my end. They both said. Wait, no, that's. Oh wait. The UI is only showing me like minutes.
Do I have seconds on mine?
Mine says 2 seconds between us. I'm not sure what yours says. Minutes.
Oh yeah, I see.
Either way.
I can't check because I'm looking at the question.
Yeah, May won.
But,
My page
but
took a little while to load for some reason.
But yeah, okay. So May wins there. That's great.
Yippee.
So that was from Elkie at tapenoise.cafe. Their idea was to ask you both to meow, and they sent this to me in a DM, so that neither of you knew what was going to happen.
I could not have possibly pre-checked this one.
Someone else just joined in. We are not spawning another hell moment from this.
Uh-oh.
We're not doing shrimp part 3.
I loved the shrimpsident, the December 22nd shrimpsident.
Oh my god, the shrimpsident, that was so great. Okay, so so this is from Emmy, who is Emmy at void.rehab. Preferred shell environment and distro. Well, my preferred shell environment and distro is smooth shells, I suppose, and my preferred distro is
It's probably the
True.
most sane answer that you're gonna get out of this group here. Mine personally, I've never like locked onto one. I find myself using Bash the most because it's default on Debian, so I just roll with it. I quite like Zhush. I don't know, is it Zhush or ZSH? Oh yes, oh my Zosh, isn't it? That comes stock on macOS. It works. I will say, I do like this fancy, colorful like prompt first. Like whenever I'm using terminals and stuff, much easier to implement in Josh than in Bash. I will give it that much. I do want to try Fish, just because I think saying that I use Fish would be really funny. That's pretty much my main gravitation towards it. What was the other one? It was like favorite shell environment
Distro.
and distro.
Oh, and distro, Debian.
Okay.
I have
And for you,
been
May?
pulled
sorry.
over to Fedora for desktop use. I'm currently trying it. I actually just got a new SSD the other day that I still have yet to install. So I'm actually, once we're done here, I'm going to be like having dinner and then reinstalling Windows and Fedora on my PC for the rest of the night. But yeah, no, it's Debian for the server all the way. Every single one of my servers runs some variation of Debian, and currently Fedora on PC, and we will see how that goes. So far, it's all right. It's pretty good.
Okay. And May, your answer?
So for shell environment, I've never really had a reason to sort of care about shells too much, but I do use Zosh on most things just because of Oh My Zosh. I like having a fancy themed like terminal essentially.
I haven't properly
That's
explored
the
that.
only reason I use it, like anything different from default basically. As for distro, I'm not even sure what my favorite is. For desktop, I've only used Arch recently on SteamOS and also just regularly in a VM because I was just playing around. I use Ubuntu on most of my servers, but I don't like some things about Ubuntu, and I want it to be more minimal. So I've decided I think in the future I'm gonna lean more towards Debian. Just straight Debian instead of Ubuntu.
Desbian.
In that regard.
Desbian.
We're all Desbians here. I don't know. I don't really have a favorite distro. I just kind of try a lot of things and see what I like.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. It's always good to have a variety in your life because variety
Absolutely.
is a spice. Variety is a spice.
See,
that
you
makes
do
life.
say that, but if you've ever used Linux, you will eventually become familiar with the term distro hopping. It is a living hell until you finally land on a
no.
distro you actually like.
Okay.
I should probably try Fedora as well. You know.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't even know if it's really like meant for server. You don't get Fedora without a desktop environment. Those are just the flavors they give you. So I think it is purely just meant for desktop. I think if you want just command line, maybe like Red Hat, I guess. I'm not sure. But either way.
Okay. The next question is from NeoRat trademark emoji ad hashtag fuck your Zionist ethnostate. Very good. Whose username is says because I pronounced that
That
wrongly.
makes sense.
At echo.hollow.capital. How do you feel about the inevitability of death? I feel fine.
Oh, I remember I pre-read some of these. I remember this one came up. The inevitability of death. What an interesting question. Yeah. The way I see it, life is a temporary thing. And so long as you enjoy the time that you have, well, that sounds like a pretty good life to me.
Yeah.
The only thing that would freak me out more than the inevitability of death is actual immortality.
agree.
I'm very much in the school of thought that living forever is a actual worse punishment than death. Because it's told in fiction for pretty much every immortal character with some sort of a deep story. 90% of the time, this character ends up like super grizzled or jaded in some capacity, because one of the problems with living forever is nobody else around you does.
Yep. You are alone,
Pretty
you
much.
fall in love, right? But they will die long, and if you think about it, if you live forever, your sense of time becomes completely warped, right?
Yeah, time
Like,
doesn't really mean anything.
time doesn't really mean like in a lifetime, if you live a good life, like 80 years or whatever, 1 year is 1/8 of your life. Not even more than 1% of your life is 1 year.
Yeah.
But if you live forever, what is a year? What is a day? What is an hour? It doesn't matter.
Just kind of
You could watch trees grow and disappear, and you'd still be there.
Yep.
So no, I don't have any qualms about death, and I'm obviously like a spiritual religious person. So to me, it is life is meant to be enjoyed, and you're meant to do things with it. And I feel like at this point, I've done a lot of good things in my life. I made a lot of people happy.
Yeah.
I've done many nice things. And if something happened to me tomorrow, well, that is unfortunate for everyone else around me.
Yeah.
Rights and traditions and so on are not about the person who has gone, but it's about the people who are left behind, right?
Yeah.
So the inevitability of death doesn't really kind of matter too much to me. I mean, what am I going to do about it? I'm dead.
Yeah.
But as long as everything beforehand is worthwhile and meaningful, then that's it.
Like a person is everything that they are and have been. So at the end of the day, so long as if you leave like lasting impressions on people and stuff, I don't know, it almost sounds kind of, I don't know, cliche to me, but it's the whole idea of your memory lives on and whatever.
Yeah.
And so long as it's a good one, yeah.
Exactly.
Sounds good to me.
As long as I have loved and have been loved, that's it. May, do you have an answer to this question?
I mean, I basically agree with everything you say, but life's too long. Life's too short to worry about the inevitability of death.
That's a huge
Crazy.
one.
Just
Yeah.
It's true.
Enjoy life.
Yeah,
while you
yeah.
still can.
Of course. That's a kind of heavy question to present to a 28, 16, and 21-year-old. But we went there. The next questions. So I'll just kind of take questions as we go through. If we have more time, I'll go through again. But the next question is from Archaic Cyberlim Architect, trans flag emoji, who is at Dacia at echo.codagos.cafe. She's asked three things. I'll pick the middle one because that's kind of funny. So, any comments on larger May alliance, such as an online presence or similar upcoming features, such as a sticker, maybe shirts, May merch, or anything you can comment on yet? That's for you, May.
The Maze should definitely get this rolling, you know. We gotta start a web ring or something.
I think
It's
the
true.
Maze should fork Miskey and make another Miskey fork based
Makey!
entirely around
Makey!
call it Makey.
Makey!
Come on,
Makey.
Maze, we gotta get on this. Get in like an XMPP room.
Yeah, like
or,
most
a
of you guys are
Matrix
tech
server or
nerds
whatever.
anyways. Just like get
true,
a
it's
private
true.
GitHub repo and just get to work.
Not even a private GitHub repo, a private like GitForge instance.
Yeah, exactly. You'll actually just like host your own Forjo instance, and like you all pool into like some Hetzner box to keep it running, and like you're sorted.
I think I joked about this. I found some like domain that I was like, oh, all the Mays should crowdfund this. I've forgotten what the domain was now.
You,
but it
you
was
should
like,
lease out subdomains for May.wtf to every May on the
Yes.
Fediverse.
Oh my god.
The next question is from Pancakes, who is pancakes@cats.city. Great guy, love the fella. What are your favorite webdry.world or general Fedi shenanigans? God, there's so. I mean, obviously, for me, I think my favorites are the ones that I've been involved in, just because I think they're really funny, like the T2 copy pasta and boiled pizza, and that's pretty much it. Those are the only two that I've been directly involved in. I mean, obviously, there's also Yaseenism, but that wasn't me. That was someone else. Based on like a dream I had that I expressed, and everyone made it real, and now there's this whole massive thing, and people to this day still think like it's all me, but it's not me. Like I barely do anything. Okay, like okay, look, sure, I may
You've lost control of your fan base.
Yeah, essentially,
You
I've
now
lost control
know
of my
what
fan
it
base.
means to be an internet influencer.
But yeah, Eucenism is just like a thing that has happened to me, so I don't really consider it like a favorite in any way, just because I kind of like alternate between like loving it and deeply hating it. Mostly deeply hating it, but also like a little bit of like, oh, shucks.
It was not
kind of thing.
it was not a product of me. It was a consequence.
The consequence of my existence. But yeah. What about you two? What's your favorite What's your favorite shenanigans?
The December 22nd shrimpsident.
The shrimpsident.
The shrimpsident was
I-
so goddamn funny. Oh my god!
Yeah.
And then
I can't believe you guys did that while I was asleep.
What had
if I was,
happened?
you only did it while I was asleep, because if I was awake, it would have exploded.
Yeah,
right? It was
so
just defense mechanism.
it still did explode. That was running for like
It was
3
so
hours
funny, though.
straight.
So great.
What
Oh my
happened
goodness.
was, I think we had like 5 people in our own Discord like voice chat. We were all screen sharing stuff, and I think I was just going through my bookmarks or something in Firefox. And my Firefox bookmarks are awesome. So I've got folders for just like my personal stuff, like services that I run. I have a folder for social media stuff. I have a folder for just cool stuff that I want to check out later, articles, just bookmarks, you know. And then outside of the folders, I have this section of just miscellaneous crap that I just put in there. And 4 of my favorite just random ass miscellaneous links that are in there. We have smokepowered.com. We have epicblazed.com. We've got mozunguhosting.ml, and we've got shrimpcam.app. And what had happened was I opened up shrimpcam.app. And immediately all 5 people in the voice chat became enamored in just watching this live feed of a bunch of shrimp swimming around in this little tank. And we were just kind of zoning, watching it. And then I pointed fun at the fact that, like, yeah, no, we were all like getting sucked into this, because the only reason I know it existed is because a couple weeks prior, other people on Fedi were getting obsessed with Shrimp Cam, and then I found it and bookmarked it. One of my favorite memories about that is, I think it was the first day that I had like checked it out. I had it up on my secondary monitor, and it was like fairly late at night, so it was like, you know, dark, monitors glowing and whatever. and my cat hops up onto my desk and she just stares at the shrimp. So I'm watching her, watching the shrimp, and then at some point it's basically just like the two of us gathered in front of my monitor in the dark just watching this live feed of shrimp. It's like it's super easy to get like sucked into that. But all 5 of us are staring. I poke fun at the fact that we are all staring, and I think the thing that really set it off, one of the people in the group, Ashley, had just gone, "Yeah, shrimp," and then the whole fucking group is just chanting, "Yeah, shrimp!" Like this is the best fucking thing that's ever happened to us. And I don't remember who like fired the first shot, but eventually all of us were just posting like shrimp related things. I think I must have linked to the actual Shrimp Cam site somewhere in the flurry of all of this, but all of us were posting about shrimp, and then the other people on our timeline very quickly picked up on the fact that there were lots of shrimp emojis landing on their feed. People started asking, "What's up with the shrimp posting? What has Wet Dry World cooked up today? Why are they doing this again?" I started sending links to my Discord. So it's not necessarily a private Discord, but it is very much kind of like a friend community, I would say. So I don't like have the link out like super publicly. You can find it, like whatever. But I private messaged a bunch of people links to the server, and by the 3-hour mark, we had gained, I think, 12 new people, which was, I think, a record, because the server consists of like just a little over 100 people at the moment. And that 100 was accrued since like 2017 or something. So that took a while. Yeah, no, a bunch of people joined, and our VC, I had a screenshot of it. The general voice chat, first, the channel had been renamed from General to Shrimperl. And we had, I think, at peak 16 people in there, 5 of which were streaming. And we were all just shrimp posting for like 3 hours. But by the time it had died down, this is the thing that was really cool about it. By the time it died down, people who got bored eventually left or like had to go to sleep or whatever. But the rest of us that were still there, we just started like chatting. We were just hanging out, and it was actually a super awesome time. I had pointed out to Zaire, who's like one of the few, actually I think the only like higher up admin on the Discord, because they're one of my oldest friends, at least on Discord. We were both kind of reminded from back, this was earlier in my YouTube days, we had met mutually through a community Discord, not my own, by some music producer. The whole server was very kind of like just general whatevers, you know? It wasn't particularly focused on music. What had happened in those early days, because I was making YouTube content, I had, slowly gotten to know people on there, got very like friendly and whatever. And then eventually, every once in a while, because we were young, stupid teenagers for the most part, we were just shitposting every once in a while, and we just like suddenly spark up some dumb meme that would last for a couple hours, but it would be like really, really dense for those few hours. And it really took us back to, back in those days where we were just like on this small time server, and we were just posting absolute garbage and just having a laugh. And it's like, we haven't had that exact kind of experience in a while, because nowadays all the shenanigans that happen are, well, on my server, where it was probably my fault anyway, so it's a fairly controlled environment. But it's the fact that it was like in this more open space where kind of everyone's just bearing witness to it. We did have on that old server one memory that just came to mind. I don't remember exactly why, but I had been given this like trusted role. It wasn't like admin necessarily, but one of the cool permissions that role had was the ability to change nicknames. So what had happened was I went and there was this bit going on or something.
Is that why I'm Yaseen?
No, the Tim Sweeney stuff was Wet Dry.
Oh,
No,
right,
this
okay.
is back in this is like, oh God, 2015, 16-ish, I think.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I'd been given
Right,
some
right.
role. I was able to change nicknames, and there was some joke. It was revolving around like an even older alias I had. People had this like spin-off name. It's like The Squad or something, but it was like named after me at the time.
Mm.
And I don't know exactly why I did this. I certainly didn't think it was a good idea, but I didn't necessarily think it was a bad enough idea to not do it. I had, as a bit, gone through, I think, the nearly 300 people on that Discord server and renamed every single one of them to some parody of my name meshed in with theirs.
Oh my
So,
god.
like, all of them had that kind of a name, and it just became this huge bit. Like, everyone who was in on the joke, and there were a couple that were, had changed their profile pictures to match mine. And it's at a certain point, you couldn't tell who was who in the voice chat anymore while this is going on. It was just hectic nonsense, and it was super fun. And there was something about the Shrimpsident that just really reminded me of that. Now, at the same time, full disclosure, I don't necessarily condone spamming feeds, but everyone was in on the bit for this one, so it was okay. That's the only time when it's okay, where in hindsight, nobody got hurt. But yeah, no, the shrimp incident, that was great, and it was a very recent one.
The Tim Sweeney incident is also a high contender, I gotta say.
How many of those have there been? I'm pretty sure there's chapters of the Sweeney incident.
Is it like a consent? Like, okay, so you gotta explain Tim Sweeney stuff to me, guys, because is that recent?
God.
Like, has that always been a wet dry thing?
So the Tim Sweeney stuff has been ongoing for ages, I'd say. I'm not even sure who started it at this point, but it's just the fact that fucking Tim Sweeney's Twitter profile picture is so bastardly low quality. It's just awful. It's just like, why are you representing yourself with something this like low quality and so retro, guys? So
like, genuinely, if you don't believe us, go to twitter.com/Tim Sweeney Epic and just, it is actual pixels. Like, I remember when I saw the like repost on Fetty, I was like, oh, okay, they like put that, like they downscaled this and then re-upscaled it. And then that was like the funny bit. No, it's actually just pixels. Not blurry pixels, sharp pixels.
This makes it much, much funnier for me, because I just assumed that this was like a low-res image that you guys had to just
no, it's the original photo he uses.
That's the original one. That makes everything so much more funny.
I gotta check if his LinkedIn has that.
This guy is like one of the most powerful people in
gaming, at least. He's kind of like the Walmart Gabe Newell.
he's the
I think
the Gabe Newell you get from Tamu, right?
He is also regarded as quite
terrible.
Quite a veteran, not terrible, but just a veteran complainer.
He does complain.
So
I
think people just have kind of like little regard for him, so the bit just persists.
He's just like, he's not particularly like, he's just a CEO of a corporation. It's just that like elements of like he is like as bad as any other corporate CEO. It's just that his position and his company are just very, memeable.
Yeah. Okay, it occurs to me, I don't think Tim Sweeney has a LinkedIn page. Not necessarily like he needs one, so I kind of can't argue that. But that's interesting.
I think just over time, the like, people just started laughing at the profile picture, and the shit posting just got more abstract. Like, we would just say like, "Oh, I'm Tim Yasweeny, guys."
Yeah, people just put Tim Sweeney into everything.
Any chance you have something, Tim Sweeney will be made into it. If you have a favorite song, fuck you. That's now Tim Sweeney.
Okay,
and then that extended then to Epic Games and Fortnite. So like, we'll just shove Fort and Night and Epic and Mega Games into as many things as
the Epic Mega Games
possible.
Things is so funny because I'm old enough to actually remember Epic Mega Games.
Oh my
gosh, it's funny to me in that sense. Also, no one on Wet Dry World has made Tim watermelon yet.
Tim
I
Watermelon.
specifically asked you guys to do
Interesting. Epic Mega Games will make this change.
I made a post the other day about Tim Sweeney or Wet Dry World or whatever, and I quoted myself and saying, "Why has none of you made Tim?" Oh, that's right. I was talking about alt text, and I said that Wet Dry World has a 70% plus rate of alt text on images.
Yeah, we're like
versus,
one of the
5%,
best, which is like really cool,
like,
actually.
versus like 5% like something like Collectiva. And I said in my comment, this means that images of Tim Sweeney turning into a watermelon have more accessibility than the anarchist posts on Collectiva.
Oh my
and
god,
I commented
you're right.
and I commented saying, why have none of you Wet Dry World folks made Tim Sweeney into a watermelon yet? I've given you the opportunity to prove me right. If there are any Wet Dry folks listening to this podcast, you must make the Tim Watermelon, please, for me.
I'm gonna DM the person that owns the Tim Sweeney Epic account on Wet Dry World this immediately after.
This is a trade secret. No one else is allowed to know who runs Tim Sweeney Epic. I did make a joke. I don't remember who it was to. I think it might have been a week or so ago. I think it was someone asking, like, what the hell is the Tim Sweeney Epic account? What are they doing? And I had made some reply along the lines of like, we don't know why he's here. He showed up one day, he won't leave, so we just come to accept that. And Tim Sweeney does the things that he does, and that's just how it is. It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. So the next question is from I'm trying to read the emoji. It's the next question is from Neocat Floof, Necromancer Elk, which is at elk@tech.lgbt. Given we just experienced the shrimp incident, should we be more fearful of Melon Cafe in future? And to Yassi, how do you feel about the Yogscast ripping off your podcast name? I feel terrible. Like, why would they do that to me? Like, the Yasscast has existed before the Yogscast. And it's terrible they did that to me. I will make a H-bomber style video accusing them of plagiarism.
What I find hilarious is Yogscast's official podcast is called the Yog Pod, so it's not even like a close resemblance.
Okay, so here's the thing. When I started this venture, I did have a few names in mind. Obviously I went with Yasscast, but it was going to be Yasspod, Pod Yast.
I think I remember hearing, Podyast, it's somewhere.
And then there's like another option, which obviously was so bad that I've excised it from my memory. But I think Yasscast is probably best because one, siblings, and two, Podyast is such a weird thing to say. It doesn't sound.
Does not quite roll off the tongue, no.
It's a rejected Apple product.
So should we be more faithful at Melon Cafe in future?
Very.
I agree. Definitely. Very, very afraid.
So
I mean, I'm in there too.
As the owner of Melon Cafe, we are not on a list yet, which is good because they don't know about the things. That's all.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's it. Okay, cool.
We are not on a list yet.
Yes. I mean, trust you guys are associated with me, remember? So you're already on halfway there.
Yeah, we're like halfway on a list for sure.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, because we're related and stuff.
Wet
right?
Dry World Most Wanted.
Because as we all know, my sins are your sins.
Wanted, defederated, or alive.
Oh my god.
Oh god, there are so many fucking questions here. Why am I so pop? So next question is from Mia, who is at Moshibar at Ambrosia. We're just gonna power through these, man. Any fashion recommendation? Any fashion recommendations? I love to know yours. My recommendation is to dress comfortably, use colorful clothing, I suppose. Use matching clothing, use simple styles, because they generally match easier. And generally try and stick with stuff that may not be in style, but isn't necessarily out of style. For example, jeans. Jeans are never always in style, but they're never out of style, and that makes your clothes.
They're always perfectly neutral.
Exactly. So you want to go for a style that's like that's typically like yourself without being too on the trend, because that way it has longevity. And also really don't go for like fast fashion stuff, because that falls apart, and two, like you should kind of wear clothes that you'll wear until they wear out, like just by being on you, you know. In fact, I should like recalibrate my wardrobe, because I have not bought any new clothes in like 3 years, and I should buy some new ones. But yeah, that's my fashion take.
So I definitely agree. Dress comfortably. First and foremost, IMO. I mean, I'm not like, I don't consider myself to be a fashionista by any means. I've only in the past few years been getting a grasp on, you know, how to dress myself appropriately. My wardrobe actually still needs a little bit of redoing, but I don't have the money for that right now. Like currently, I mean, I've just been at home today, so like I'm in pajamas with this like nice big kind of like blanket gown situation going on. I'm cozy as hell. I'm actually a little bit too warm. I might want to take this off later. But for outdoorsy wear, I mean, yeah, dress comfortably as well. I could definitely agree with the jeans there. My personal fashion style, I haven't quite nailed it down yet, but I can say that I do really like the vibe of, I believe it's the 13th Doctor in Doctor Who, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. I really like that vibe.
That is very you.
It's a cool vibe. I actually got this kind of like long-ish like coat from the women's section kind of recently while I was doing Christmas shopping, and it's just nice. It's like, it's kind of bulky. It feels sort of heavy, but not too heavy. And I haven't tested it like properly outdoors. I can say that it is pretty good windbreaking, which, you know, adds to comfort. I don't have constant cold winds blowing on me all the time. Pockets, oh my god, optimize for pockets if you can. I was about to completely miss one of the most critical points. I like utility wear. I like utility in general over, like, function over form for a lot of stuff. Form, if you can manage it, is awesome, but I would struggle to go out without at least a pocket on me. It would be rough.
Yep, that's fair enough. And May?
I don't have enough life experience to answer this question, really.
That's fair enough.
I don't know much about fashion.
Yeah. I mean, like you two are pretty early on in your
My
fashion
journey.
career, and I was obviously in your transition too, right? So
Yeah.
you can't really forget that. But you'll learn like what works for you and what doesn't. Like obviously with me, I mean, I tend to wear brightly colorful clothes with like crosses or stripes or single colors or things like velvet or things like cloth, for example, because that generally works well on me, kind of thing. So that's like my style. It's very, you know, dream pop is what Jessica calls it.
I like the idea of fashion being a very personal choice. It is a form of self-expression, basically. It's decorating yourself in a sense.
Yeah, and especially as you guys are going through your transition, you know, I feel like you'll find your style as you develop your identity, kind of thing. Like you know, like if you want to consider like a prototypical style choice, then for example, Jessica again, she would wear blacks and stuff early on in our friendship, and now she's kind of branched out to more colorful stuff. So she obviously still wears blacks a lot, but you know, there's you can swap and change, whatever kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's the beauty with clothing, is that you can change it whenever you want.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Next question is from my good friend Experiencers International, who is at Experiencer at Lethal Lava Land, which is of course the sister instance to wetdry.world.
Yeah, Lethal Lava.
Represent.
Yeah. SM again. He's truly a Chad, I think.
We love
Yaseen.
SM.
We love him. Right, with the naming of this episode's name, can we ask whether one of you actually appreciated Windows 8.1? Underrated, in my honest opinion. Yeah, I think Windows 8.1 was a fairly decent OS. I think it was a good step up from Windows 8, and I think it was a good kind of middle ground. I think when they moved to Windows 10, the things that were good about Windows 8.1 were kind of tossed away, especially with like the live tiles and with the kind of the way it was set up for touchscreens, but also like some of the other stuff, like just how the color scheming worked and the uniqueness of it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Did you guys know that you could install apps onto 81 PCs? 81, just in case you had 81 PCs, just to
Oh, if only I had
log in on.
81 PCs. If only I had space for 81 PCs. If I had
So
space
imagine-
for 81 PCs, I would actually probably have 81 PCs.
There is one person we know who has space for 81 PCs.
Imagine if you got to like your 82nd PC and like, God damn, I run out of usable slots on my Microsoft account.
Damn it.
Whatever will I do?
Oh, that's
But,
bizarre.
Do you guys even did you guys even use Windows 8.1?
So, my history with Windows is interesting. We started with XP. That when I was born, that was what was on pretty much all the family computers. So XP
Right.
has a very, very special place in my heart, which is why, for those who follow me on Fetty, not too long ago, I
Yes, right.
spun up a Windows XP VM and I finally got GPU pass-through working, so I can game on that thing. That's real cool. Of course, I put in a VM because I also wholly intend on just like trashing it on occasion, and reinstalling from scratch would be a huge pain. So just rolling from backup is easier. But yeah, no, XP I have a lot of fondness for. What had happened was we'd moved house, we didn't have space for a lot of those computers, so a lot of them were also just old, and we weren't able to maintain them properly. So we end up getting rid of a lot of them. And I think around when, I think we had like a main PC of sorts. Oh yeah, I think we were like loaning a Mac Mini or something. So I was on Mac OS. I think it was Snow Leopard at the time. And I needed, at a certain point, my mom had actually signed me up for a coding club that was being run like after hours
cool.
at one of our local schools. So I went over there, but I needed a laptop for it. So my mom was also able to source as a loan off a family friend this. I still cherish it to this day. Unfortunately, I don't have it anymore. This like black MacBook. It was like one of the few black plastic MacBooks they ever released, because they found it very quickly. People don't actually like buying plastic MacBooks for the most part. People like the nice metal sheen ones. But it was that I had for a good while, a couple of years, I think. And it was also running Snow Leopard, so that was like super nostalgic to me as well. But what had happened was that laptop carried me through the Vista and Windows 7 generations. So whenever people go on like really nostalgic about 7, it's cool to watch from afar, but I just don't have a crazy affiliation with it. So I'm one of, I think, very few people in like the grand scheme of things that doesn't really have many memories of Windows 7. It looks cool, but that's about all I could say about it. I can't attest to how it is to use or anything like that, though I hear it's great. But it carried me through that until I think the battery was suffering from spicy pillow syndrome, and the charging circuit was also failing. So the laptop was not able to charge anymore and could not run off wall power properly. At a certain point, we just considered the thing dead, and I wasn't able to repair it at the time. I didn't have the expertise, so unfortunately I ended up like scrapping it for parts, which feels really bad now. I totally could have repaired it now, but in hindsight, you know. But what I had then been given, it was like, I think early birthday gift, maybe, because my laptop had been busted. I had gotten a Lenovo G500 laptop that came with a copy of Windows 8.1. So
Ah.
that was how I got back into Windows, having completely leapfrogged 7, having thankfully not dealt with the catastrophe that was Windows 8. So 8.1, from my point of view, I mean, it seems like it was a pretty good, I guess, bouncing back point from Windows 8, from everything that 8 tried to do. The whole thing of like trying to make every computer a tablet was a little bit, what would be the word, optimistic. And
very ambitious.
Very ambitious, very, very ambitious for sure. Ignoring the fact that like, tablet PCs were kind of fresh on the market and everyone else was for the most part still rolling, a normal desktop or a laptop with no touchscreen. So a lot of the touchscreen stuff just didn't make sense. I don't have a crazy soft spot for the live tiles. I remember I used them for a while on Windows 10, but I by use them, I mean I just kind of kept them there. I never really actually used live tiles. Usually the apps that I actually wanted to access, I would just access through the normal app selector or my taskbar.
Yeah.
But it was all right. It was also 8, and I had heard about all of the terrible things with 8, and then I was experiencing, there were still some not great parts of Windows 8 that still existed in 8.1, of course. When the beta rolled out for Windows 10, I immediately jumped on it. And I never ended up looking back. Windows 10 has been really solid for me. I have now upgraded to 11 after many years with 10. 11's fine, but my system like fully supports it, so I haven't had huge issues with it.
Yep.
I was annoyed they removed the volume mixer, but now they brought the volume mixer back, so sure.
Yeah. Windows 11 is I feel like a very nice coat of paint over Windows 10.
It is. I find it unfortunate that they've been trying to cram AI stuff into it, but like I said earlier in the show, like, look, they're going to keep shoving it into more and more things. Windows 12, now that they're back to doing like regular releases, it seems like what they're doing.
Like Windows 10 is going to be the last of
Windows
OS.
They were convinced like this would be it, but then they realized no, this actually doesn't really work for us. So I think they're going back to what they did with like Windows XP, Vista, and 7, where they just do a regular like big theme release basically, and then just like patches throughout. But what is it? Windows 12 will probably have a whole bunch of AI garbage, probably way more AI garbage than is already in 11. Honestly, I don't see it living past that though. I think 13 will probably dial it back. It might be an optional feature. If we're lucky, it might be on device at least. Like hardware will surely be like powerful enough to support that at least on most newer machines, just to run all the like, I don't know, if you just want like to talk to Bing or something. Oh, they're renaming it to Copilot now, aren't they? Because they like really like that name. It's not Bing anymore. It's just gonna be Copilot. Yeah, it'll be here for a while, and then hopefully it'll be gone soon. That's basically my mentality with that. Yeah, 8.1 was all right. It did me well for the time that I had it. I think I had some issues with like software support in some areas, because 8 in general suffered from a lot of what Vista did in terms of a lot of people really didn't want to use it. Oh yeah, people don't really want to use it. So what will happen is people who are making hardware, say anything from as simple to like your microphone to your display. Are we good?
Yep.
Cool.
Hardware test.
Yeah. Like anything from as simple as like, say, your microphone to your display to your keyboard or touchpad driver. It's the drivers. People who are manufacturing this stuff, they aren't going to make drivers for machines that nobody wants to use. So what happens is, you go from Windows 7, the super stable base, which has matured a lot over the years and has a bunch of drivers, a bunch of driver support, to a system that I don't know how much under the hood stuff they changed, but they certainly did a lot under the hood, and it was kind of half-assed. We still have the old control panel today in Windows 11, for example. They have not finished like that transition at all for some reason. But you move from Windows 7 to Windows 8, and suddenly, like, software support's really spotty all of a sudden, so a lot of shit just doesn't work sometimes. And that wasn't necessarily a fault of Windows 8, but it was caused by the other faults of Windows 8. So it's like, it was a whole thing. It's generally okay, though.
So, whereas Ari basically used a Mac for a while, my childhood was basically the exact inverse. I basically have only used Windows up until this year. I used 7 like a lot. I have never ever actually used 8 or 8.1 to this day, even in like a VM. I've never used it.
You were spared.
I heard that it was a thing and it flopped, and that's probably the reason why I didn't use it. But it's like, I just never had a device that I used it on, because all my PCs were like hand-me-down, like free things that you'd get. So I was running 7 on them because, you know, didn't want to like upgrade, especially that people were saying it was shit. And I didn't know any better. But basically, I never used 8 or 8.1. I only ever used 7. And when 10 was like in pre-release, I was like, I really wanted 10. I was like so early on downloading Windows 10. Like,
was I July 2015 roughly when I got on the program for that? You might have been similar then if you got on like as soon as it launched.
I can remember I was like, when I was, this was like, I don't know how old I was, but I was talking about it with my dad.
You probably was 10.
I probably was 10. I can say that it was hated. I can justify that people hated it for reasons. Let's say that's my take on it, essentially.
Okay. That's fair enough. All right, we are coming up to, this is going to be the longest episode I've ever produced. So I think it's a good time to wrap it up.
Sucks.
I think. Yeah, I know, right? You've done a long run rather than a speed run. I'm happy to wrap up here if you guys are happy to wrap up here.
Maybe we can knock out one more question.
One more question?
Yeah,
one more question?
let's go one more.
Okay, sure. One more question. All right. Okay, if you guys want to pick a question each.
Ooh, I gotta pull up the Fetty.
Don't get distracted by your notifications.
My notifications are plentiful. It's gonna be very difficult to ignore. No, just last night I was like, okay, it's 2 a.m. It's time to wrap up and go to sleep, because I was naturally dicking around with some techie thing. And I was like, okay, it's 2 a.m. It's time to go to sleep. And then I checked Fetty. And then I looked back at the clock and it was 3 a.m. I just went to check my notifications. I ended up in I think 4 different conversation threads. I do like the one question from Neon. Neon at catgirl.center. Okay, would the next 14 episodes be called 10, 1507, 1511, 1607? Just riffing on the Windows naming schemes over the past couple of years.
The answer is we'll see, I think, on that one.
Might be difficult to do the 20 something H something ones, because I would imply that you're making one podcast a year or half a year. You could just decide, no, I don't feel it. One every 6 months now.
One every 6 months would do, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
how much
I
yes
think
could
we
a
did.
Yas chuck if a Yas chuck could chuck Yas? This is a question for you, Yas.
I think that might be a question for you, yes.
Why is it a question for me? Just because of the word yes.
This is my podcast now.
We're taking control. That's the plot twist.
This is the Ari Mae cast.
Welcome to the Ari Mae cast. This is how it's always been from the beginning. We have merely been the puppet masters behind the scenes all along.
We write the script. No.
This is scripted? Oh god. You're telling me they were paid to read this?
Don't you know I've scripted everything on the Fediverse according to Gamer?
Oh,
that's what we discussed in the last
internet
episode.
Theory.
Dead internet theory.
Oh, that's gold.
Everything on the Fedi has been written by me.
Dude, if Wet Dry World doesn't break dead internet theory, holy shit. Some psychopath is writing this script.
The answer to the question by silly guy who is at tech.lgbt.
You got every syllable in there, right?
Yep,
Cool,
I think
cool.
so. The answer is 1.
That makes sense.
Interesting. Why?
Elaborate.
No.
This is an exam question.
I shrimply will not.
I simply will not.
You can shut down like any arguments by just making your point again and then saying it's as shrimple as that.
It's as simple as that. It's not complicated. Okay, great. You picked both your questions. So that's fantastic. Oh no, we missed one. From Luna, who is at luna.place. Oh well, we already answered the first question. And the second question we've actually already answered by you posting the words meow. So great, we've answered every question.
I can answer that
That's
one.
fantastic.
Nice.
That's great. Apologies to anyone we have missed. There are a lot of questions, and it is like 3 hours into this episode. So, but
are we the record? I looked at the average runtime, and I don't think any of them have lasted this long.
No, the longest so far has been Judah, which is like 3.5 hours. And this is like the second longest time to first question
Good
as
grief.
well. So
clearly we all
great.
need to sit here twiddling our thumbs for the next half hour, and then we'll make the cut.
What? That doesn't make any sense, Harry.
Listen, I invest lots of venture capital. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that bigger is better. 100% of the time. Nothing has ever gone wrong from rapid expansion.
Stop talking. Stop talking.
What is happening? What is happening? God, we have devolved. This is getting so bad.
You haven't evolved. You've been bought out. We're owned by Epic Megacorp now.
Fucking hell! No, I don't want to be in Fortnite.
No way, they've added Yaseen to
We need to now
Fortnite.
make the edit. Yaseen is in Fortnite. Holy crap.
It's been absolutely lovely to have both of you guys on here.
It's been lovely being
Yeah.
here. It's only
great.
gone well.
Thank you.
It has only gone well. It
Yeah.
has gone the best it could ever do with inviting you two on here. That's for sure. So I have been Yaseen, who is at Yassi_J at 0w0.is. And this has been Ari and Mae. You can support this show by the links below in the description or to the side. It depends on what platform you're using. There's a text box. It's called description. It has links in there. Click them. Give me some money because I need to buy cakes and whatever, right? This episode has been written. No, not written. I keep saying written every
You're telling me
single
people were
time.
paid to read this?
This episode was directed very loosely, produced also very loosely, and edited very heavily by me, Yaseen. This episode was mixed and mastered by Gamer, who is Gamer at bungle.online. Today's guests have been none other than Ari
Hello.
and Mae.
Hi.
And this is good night from me. And good night from... Oh, okay. This episode was filmed directly inside your central nervous system. Please
We're in
do
your
clean
mind.
out. We're inside your mind right now. We're forming right inside your pituitary gland.
Naturally.
Naturally. The end.